GameNashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
1, 2, 3. I think it was a good game. Had a couple of big plays.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mace.
It was pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Daunick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado.
You made yourselves proud, you made the organization proud, and you also made, in my opinion, I'm pretty confident that the city of Nashville proud to come in here and be the best team in the league on the day after what happened, which was really, really good. Captain, what do you got?
Yeah, just, well, thanks. Amazing job, boys. Juice, amazing. Glasser, everybody though, that was fun to watch. I mean, that's the best team in the league, and you just came in here, got 2 points. But like I just said, it's been a tough couple of days in Nashville, obviously. A lot of people affected, the whole community, our team. Obviously was really affected by it, and so tonight we're not going to give this to play. We're going to put it on the table and just be thinking of the families that were affected, first responders, and just everyone else that was affected. So we'll put it on the table. This is for Nashville, and we'll be thinking of everyone that was affected by the strategy.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios. That was Roman Josi postgame. Predators go on the road, get a win against the big bad Boston Bruins, 2-1 last night. And I will say, whenever someone asks me, like, what do you love most about sports? Or anyone, what do you love most about sports? I feel like anyone's response is probably along the lines of, it brings people together. It's just, you could be one person, two different people from a different background, different race, different religion, different perspectives on life, but you have that one thing that brings you together if you're the fans of a team. I think anyone could say what they love about sports is sometimes sports are bigger than sports. Sports are bigger than what's on the field. Sports are bigger than a score. And working in this job, I think sometimes I forget about that. Watching games, whether it's the Predators, whether it's the Titans, whether it's a Vanderbilt basketball game, I think of it through the lens of, okay, what are we going to talk about tomorrow? Who's on the hot seat? Who won? Who really stood out? What are the biggest storylines of the game that we're going to talk about, that the people of Nashville want to hear about? And sometimes I lose touch about how much I love sports. Is really the core of that, is because sometimes things are just bigger than sports, that it brings people together. Last night, the Predators going on the road without their 4 leading scorers, without their 4 highest paid players on the ice, all out, injured or traded. They go on the road against the best team in the National Hockey League, and they get a win just days after Nashville undergoes a horrific and unimaginable tragedy. Last night reminded me why I love sports so much. Last night reminded me that sports are sometimes just bigger than what's on the ice, what's on the court, what's on the field. D-Mase, Willy D, how we doing?
Doing wonderful. Sun's back out. It's another day to love on those around you, and try to move forward with life as best as you can. I'm sure the sentiment is the same throughout the city, and it's great what the Predators end up doing. This young team has been playing extremely well. Now they've dropped some in the midst of all of this, but they've been playing extremely well. They've been energetic. They've been gutsy. They fought. And to get a win like that and then dedicated to the city of Nashville was big in this moment. You're right, Caroline. Sports and music are the two things that sort of link everyone together, whether it be for an hour at a concert, 2 hour and a half, 2 hours at a concert, or 3 hours plus at a sporting event. It's usually things that sort of glue us back together, because Lord knows once we walk out of those buildings, we are as fractured as a a leg that is broken, and that's the sad part about it. And it manifests in other ways, as we saw the other day. But hats off to Nashville. Hats off to the Predators. What they did was bridge that gap once again. Sports unified everyone once again, and for them to go out and play the way they played and dedicate it to, the families that were affected by this, the first responders, the officers that went in instead of waiting or turning around. This game was for you. So kudos to that organization. And this is just something the Predators do. This is nothing new for the Nashville Predators, They're always there to lend a helping hand, or to give support any way they can. So, A+++ for the Nashville Predators for me.
Well, guys, you guys set the table really well. I'm still find myself really emotional about it. We all process this in our own way. I can tell you, for me, each day has gotten a little more emotional, and I'm not really sure why. I don't know why it comes up on me in waves like it does, but last night I would have to say that was probably the most challenging broadcast I've ever done. To try to, and man, I'll tell you what, that team, they really inspired me, the way they went about it. And my broadcast partners, I can't say enough about how we were all in it together. And I think that's the thing that I listened to with Roman Josi. He didn't play in the game, but you could feel it, that everybody in there was in their own way going through this and thinking about everybody in our city. And that's pretty special. That's pretty special. I'm sorry, guys. It's catching up to me.
Don't apologize.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all kind of feel the same way, that the more news that comes out, the more outpouring of support that I think this city has gotten, gives me a very strange sense of pride to live in this city, to represent this city, to be welcomed in the city, and by the people who live in the city every single day on your radios, wherever you might listen. It's given me a very big sense of pride in the hardest times that we've gone through. And it's not going to be the last time, unfortunately, that we go through something difficult. But it is a reminder of how special this city truly is. And seeing what the Predators did last night, what I thought was seemingly impossible, really. I mean, a team of just a bunch of youngins on the road against the best team in the league. You got nothing else behind you but a whole bunch of hope. And then you go through what the city has gone through, and then they pull something out like that. It almost feels like, whether it's divine intervention or whether they really did truly feel the support of the millions of people either living in Nashville or hurting for Nashville or praying for Nashville, it really felt like they carried that onto the ice last night. And it was just a representation, truly, of the strength of this city.
Yeah. What you guys saw too, what Ryan McDonough did, that was a really cool thing, for that kid who just, is celebrating a birthday, and, he strikes up a conversation at the airport, and Ryan McDonough, the backdrop, I don't know if you guys heard him share the story, or Coach Hines, a little bit last night. Ryan McDonough is new to Nashville, right? He's in his first year with the team, and his family looked at the Covenant School when he was looking for a place for his kids to go to school. So he connected with them. They didn't ultimately go to school there, but you can imagine what that felt like, how that hit that family, just like it hit all of us in our own way, but it's directly to the McDonough family. So Ryan, he stayed back. He flew with the team. The team flew to Boston, as we know, on Monday. He stayed back to be with his family for an extra day, which was a classy move, of course, by the Predators. They didn't even bat an eye. So Ryan McDonough flies to Boston, yesterday. He meets this kid, and he was on the show. Caleb, I think his name is Chase, and Michelle had a chance to talk to him. And so Ryan offers up this pay it forward kind of move, Just that's what he's about. That's what he's about. That was just awesome.
And he sounded so happy. Oh, poor thing was, he was so excited to be there. And I thought that was really cool and a really special touch from Ryan McDonough. And I think as continues to be a testament that this team truly is a representation of the city of Nashville. It's all for the people. And like Roman Yossi said, that win last night was for Nashville. That win last night was for this city. So that win last night was for you. So today is for you as well. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will get to your phones early. We will get to your phones often. Your thoughts on the Predators game last night and what it means to you, what it means to this fan base, what it means to this city, and the strength that this city continues to show and the resilience that this city continues to show as well. 615-737-1025. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025-1063 The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
That fits the mentality of what they're going to do.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase to talk all things Titans and NFL.
Much more creative in how you go about calling certain plays.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
That doesn't mean that you can't have great or don't need great quarterback play.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Whew. All right. Let's tell you about Loan Pronto. And as we've been saying, Loan Pronto, we know a lot of you are looking for the best way to utilize your financial assets, and Loan Pronto can help you with that. The home equity line of credit, the Express Equity Line of Credit program that Loan Pronto has going for you can really work to your advantage. And all you've got to do is give them a call and let them explain to you how it'll work. But I'll do my best. And that means in 7 to 10 days, you can use the equity in your home to get cash out. Could be $50,000. You could use that money to address financial needs you have pressing right now, like getting that credit card bill down to zero, paying off that car loan that's got a high interest rate, maybe starting a home improvement project. Loan Pronto can help you do that. So a $50,000 loan, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and you pay it back $400 a month or so. So you're going to come out ahead on that, and you're going to get your financial plans in order. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity. 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even appraisal. So stop the madness. Say no to the 24% interest fees that might be bogging you down right now. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780. Or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Hey, Joe Rexrode here for FanDuel. The tournament heating up, folks, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now FanDuel is giving new customers a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That is $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. All you got to do is go to FanDuel.com/Joe102. Sign up today to claim your no-sweat first bet. Then you can wager on everything from the money line, point spreads, which teams will be cutting down the nets, and, of course, we're down to 4. So we're getting close here, and we got a shocking Final Four. I will tell you right now, I think I like San Diego State, and I think I like UConn to be the two teams that meet each other in the national championship game. Do whatever you want. Just do it on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Do not miss your shot at no sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Go to FanDuel.com/Joe102. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You must be 21 or older, present in Tennessee. First online real wager only, $10 deposit required. Refund issued is now withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
102.5 and 106.3, The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rexrode, 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle, 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase, 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company, 2 to 6.
I'd give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3, The Game. Want to weigh in on the conversation?
It's a brain booster.
Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Not just another game. No, it wasn't, and quite frankly, there really are no words that you can say for what went on yesterday in Nashville, and it's just a tragedy for those families and everybody affected, and you know, you don't really realize it until you have kids of your own, the perspective that it hits you with. It's not like this isn't the first school shooting, unfortunately, that's happened, but you know, now that you have kids and it happens really close to home, it hits definitely different. And like any parent, you do anything you can to help your family and your kids out. And then at the end of the day, there's a second family for us in our profession, and it's our hockey family and our team here. So we felt like we needed to go out and try to do our job the best we could and sacrifice and leave it all out there, and just tried to maybe bring a little bit of inspiration to the city of Nashville after everything that went on.
That was Ryan McDonough after the game last night. And again, Ryan McDonough stayed back for a day. The Predators allowed him to stay back in Nashville to be there for his kids. His kids were under lockdown on Monday when the Coventry school was going through what it was going through on Monday. So I know it's hitting Ryan McDonough hard, and appreciate all of you for being so kind and so gracious as we kind of work through our emotions as well. So if you've been emotional, if it's been hitting you hard, we're with you, and we're feeling the same way.
Yeah, and we want to hear from you, too. If you want to reach out to us and just talk, you know. That was something that Mace talked about yesterday. We got to talk through this a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they can call a radio station, and
tell you what,
if they need to vent, they can vent. We can listen, and you know, if they want their opinions or their thoughts or their hurt to be heard, then, you know, our lines are open for you. It doesn't have to be about sports. If you want to, you know, talk about what happened the other day and how it's affecting you or how it affected people close to you, then, you know, our lines are open for you. We're not going to reject you. Just because it's a sports show doesn't mean that we don't care about other things. So
without further ado,
open them up.
Yep.
To the phones. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you have a thought on anything that has transpired over the past week and how the Predators had the resilience to come back with a big win over the Boston Bruins 2-1 last night. John Texan says, as a native Nashvilleian and a Preds fan since the beginning, last night's effort and character by the Predators shows me that this reset is for real. If you would have told me we still would be in a playoff race in the fashion that we have to this point with all of our new players in the lineup, I would have said that you're crazy. But what a story it would be for them to make the playoffs this year.
I mean,
pretty awesome.
No, go ahead.
Yeah,
Caroline.
it is an awesome story. And also, I think there was some discussion when the Predators were going into this long, really difficult gauntlet of a schedule of how many wins could the Predators pick up against really good teams like a Boston or a Colorado or a Toronto if some of those teams had taken their foot off the gas. But it was not the case for the Boston Bruins last night. They had their top 4 goal scorers in. They had David Pastrnak in last night. They had Patrice Bergeron on the ice last night. And Boston is still playing for a President's Trophy. Boston is playing for a franchise record most wins in a season. Those are all important things to the players in Boston. So they're still playing for something. They still are going 100% on the ice last night. So really, I mean, with all things considered, let's just look at hockey. Let's look at the fact that the Predators have lost their leading scorers, have lost their leaders. It's up to some of the young guns to get things moving. So that alone, going on the road against the Boston Bruins, the best team in the league, now that is a story in and of itself. And you combine what the Predators left back in Nashville, the broken hearts, and everyone who is in this city that just are feeling a little bit heavier with emotion, that makes it special. That makes it feel like it's, like I've said so many times, makes it feel like sports really, truly are bigger than sports. That the Predators were a representation of the city of Nashville last night.
Yeah, and I'd like, you listen to Ryan McDonough there. I don't know Ryan McDonough that well. I'm getting to know him a little bit, but I'll tell you what, when I observe him, just the more you watch, the more you see what. And, he was leading the way. He played a tremendous game last night. But you just see what he's about, right? You see what kind of effect he can have on some of these young guys that are out there. Like you guys just pointed out, Boston didn't rest any of their guys last night. That was the full Boston lineup that they're probably going to roll out with. Number one, I thought that was supposed to be sort of the coronation and the clincher of the President's Trophy, which they're going to get. But, Ryan McDonough has got a lot of substance to him, and we're lucky to have him in our city, and that's the thing about it. He, I think, is just building what he can do. He's never missed the playoffs, and look, Winnipeg lost last night. Nashville is still mathematically alive. It's pretty crazy, and they've got a tough road ahead, another tough one tomorrow here in Pittsburgh where I am. But I just, like the texter just pointed there, you just have a good feeling right now about where it's going. And maybe they get Roman Josi back tomorrow, another great leader who is going to also help show the way to these young guys. So it's a good energy right now, and it's like mutual. It's back and forth. So I hope a lot of people keep latching on to this team because it's a lot of fun right now.
Yeah, it is. These young guys, regardless of what the situation is on the ice, they continue to fight, and they continue to go out there and try to play with the energy that they need to play with in order to win games. And when the trades and everything went down, I don't think many people saw this team trending the way that they are. They thought that possibly there could be steps backwards, and I think people accepted that. But this is the distinct difference between, and this is why we talk about a lot. It's hard to tank in a professional setting. Why? Because the owner may be thinking one thing, but the owner ain't playing. The GM may be thinking one thing, but the GM ain't the one playing. And I'm not, and by no means am I saying that Poyle and Trotzy wants to tank. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this. The moves that they made, they thought, okay, we're sort of conceding that we need to make some changes headed into next season. And if we take a few steps back, okay, we understand. We just want to get a lay of the land and see where we are at moving toward the offseason and what we need to do. But those players came in and said, whoa, wait a minute. We are how many points away from a playoff? Okay, that's close enough. Let's continue to play. And these young guys have come in, and they've done a heck of a job at pushing forward. It hadn't been perfect, but they've done enough to win hockey games and to keep themselves in the playoff talk. They may not make the playoffs. We don't know. But like the texter said, this team has continued to fight regardless of what has transpired with guys moving, guys getting injured, all that other stuff. These young guys have continued to fight, along with the guys that are still there.
Justin in Greenbrier texts in, says, to do what they did last night was special. They carried all of us with them, and like David versus Goliath, they stood tall. Especially in the third period, they were under a hail of shots and still came away with an almost shutout against that team. My thoughts and prayers to all of you at the station, the families of those that were lost, and to the city of Nashville. I appreciate that, Justin. And that's what, I mean, UC Soros played absolutely out of his mind. Cody Glass. He was awesome last night. Cody Glass continues to get things moving offensively. So yeah, UC Soros played absolutely out of his mind last night. And to Justin's point, it felt like they were carrying a whole lot of weight on their backs in the best possible way. Kevin texts in and says, did the Bruins know that the Preds were going to have a little bit more pop last night coming off of the tragic events of Monday?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure their thoughts and prayers, the Bruins organization was with the city of Nashville and the Nashville Predator organization. So, I mean, it's not like they didn't know what happened here in Nashville. They did. And I'm sure, I don't know if, because it's tricky. You never go into a situation as a player if you know something as tragic has happened to the other team, city, or someone on the other team. You don't go in and say, man, we got to, make sure we do what we do because this team is going to come in with a lot of emotions. You're not even thinking. That is the furthest thing from your mind. What you're thinking about is, man, they had to go through that, and hoping and praying that you never have to go to that situation. I don't think the Boston Bruins were saying in their pep talk, hey, listen, we know Nashville is coming in here with that extra, whatever it is, so we need to be. No, they wasn't thinking about that stuff. They were thinking about this team is going through a tragic situation. And, we got to find a way. We got to just continue to do what we have been doing as a hockey club and go out there and execute.
I want to say that I thought Boston and the Bruins organization handled it great. They had the moment of silence, which I thought was really well done. That was a classy move for them. And I saw this. I think it was Nash. Mm-hmm. Out of all, because I didn't know. But apparently the Bruins staff just bought lunch for the Predator staff yesterday. That was really cool.
Really cool.
Classy.
I also
because Boston's been through it, right? We know Boston's been through this kind of thing, too. I'm sitting here in Pittsburgh. We know Pittsburgh had a episode not long ago, similar stuff. So that's the thing that weighs on all of us, right? And we want things to be better, right? And so then it hits you, and those. They reach out. That was a great act, I thought, by the Bruins organization.
I did see last night the Bruins wore the logo of the Coventry School on their helmets. They just went above and beyond to show their support.
So it's all about, it's about supporting. It's not necessarily about what, attitude or what extra, motivation the team is coming in with. It's about the Bruins saying, how can we support Nashville, their community, the Predators? How do we do that? We're not even thinking about how, if the emotions of that event, horrible event, is going to sort of help Nashville. It's how do we help them? How do we support them? We'll wear the logo of the Covenant School. We will buy lunch for the staff. Things that may seem small in the big grand scheme of things, but it's huge because it's a thought. You thought about what you were going to do and you did it. How small it may have been, a lunch and a logo. That may not be big, but it's the thought that counts.
And it's what I mean whenever I say sports are so much bigger than sports sometimes, is because unfortunately I don't think there's a city in the country that is a stranger to tragedy of any form or fashion. So whenever you do get into sports and it's all about competition and it's all about guys that will do anything to win, when they understand tragedy, when unfortunately they know what you have been through, Take away the jerseys, take away the colors, take away the points, take away the competition, and let's just be humans. And I think that's really, really powerful. And my hat's off to the Boston Bruins organization for all the classy touches that they brought to the game last night. We want to continue to hear your thoughts. We will continue to be a venting place for you. We will continue to take your phone calls and your thoughts on this. But it is Sounds opening weekend. It's going to be a really fun weekend down there in Germantown at First Horizon Park. So we'll chat with Jeff Hem, play-by-play for the Nashville Sounds coming up next. It's Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
This is Phil Tomasino, and this is Smashville.
Cousins put it in front of the score. Tomasino lofts it in. 2-0 Nashville.
This is a flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Time to tell you about Lee Company, of course, a proud sponsor of our Nashville Predators radio coverage here on 102.5 The Game. This road trip continues in Pittsburgh tomorrow night against the Penguins, a team holding the second wild card in the Eastern Conference. So, tomorrow night, Winnipeg Jets with 2 points in hand. So it's still in the race after last night's big win over the Bruins. Now, Lee Company also has the services ready for you with maintenance at home or at work. Got maintenance issues to take care of? Lee Company's got you. 615-567-1000. That's the phone number to remember. And look, if you're just sitting at work, you don't want to pick up the phone, you can just make an online appointment too by going to leecompany.com. And then you got your problem taken care of. You can get your work done and head on to do the things you need to do in your life. Lee Company, 615-567-1000 or leecompany.com. Proud sponsor, Nashville Predators.
This week at the Electronic Express Markdown Mania event, get instant savings of up to 40% off in every department, including all 4K TVs, laptops and tablets, housewares, gaming consoles, speakers, and more. At Electronic Express, we have up to 50% off all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 3 years free financing. Shop the Markdown Mania sales event at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for the Twin Peaks E-Club and stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks. As a friend of the Peaks Club, you'll score free stuff and be updated on upcoming events and promotions. Visit TwinPeaksRestaurant.com and sign up today.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter, but it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
When you want live and local,
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
they've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Joining us now is Jeff Hem, play-by-play broadcaster for the Nashville Sounds. Before we get into the Nashville Sounds opening weekend, Jeff, just wanted to get your thoughts. I know you're a dad, and I know that the actions and the tragic events that have happened in the city of Nashville over the last few days have certainly hit you hard. It's something that we've been discussing, something that we're opening up our phone lines to our listeners all day long. So it's kind of your thoughts on some of the tragic events that have happened over the last few days in the city of Nashville.
Hey guys, yeah, thank you for having me on, and it's awful. I have no other word than awful to use first and foremost. It's brutal. The fact that schools have to go through these things and consider these things. I'm married to a teacher. It's just awful that it's happening as often as it is. I know everybody's around this market is in mourning. Some, unfortunately, way more heavily than others. It's brutal. I appreciate what you guys have done on your show so far today, talking about it and just letting people call in and vent and mourn and share their thoughts. It's just absolutely brutal, and I'm tired of having to feel the things that we keep having to feel.
Tired of having to say enough is enough. But
Yep.
I know that we've been trying to be at least a glimmer of light in a really dark time for this city. That's what sports can do. And that's exactly what the Nashville Sounds are going to be for this city this weekend as the Sounds open up their season finally at First Horizon Park. Just kind of overarching question, what are you looking forward to most about this team going into this season?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to how much of last year's fun continues, because as you guys know, and a lot of our fans have gotten accustomed to over the years, at the AAA level, there's so much roster movement. It's just almost daily, and sometimes multiple moves in a day with how injuries happen in baseball and how long the season is. And we're again AAA for the Milwaukee Brewers, who are again looking to contend in their division and get back to a postseason where they'd been several years in a row before last year. And so as all that movement was happening last year, we had an amazing season. A lot of guys went up and down. Some guys went up and stayed. And our team won 91 games and its division by the time it was all said and done. That is not easy to do, and to have the type of clubhouse and the togetherness that team had last year, it was really special, because not all AAA teams are that way. It's such a melting pot with so much movement. So to have the togetherness that we had with that club last year, and what our manager Rick Sweet and the coaches did and oversaw was very unique. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how much of that continues, because some of the names that were part of that are going to be back, but invariably, with the nature of baseball transactions, there are going to be new faces. There are going to be more prospects coming up. And so can you kind of continue what made last year's team so unique? So from a baseball standpoint, that's what I'm looking forward to. We saw some dynamic talent come up here late last year, not just Brewers prospects, but top 100 prospects in the game. And at least to start, we're going to have some of that again this year. Sal Frelick and Joey Weimer in the outfield. I'm so happy that Bryce Terang made the Brewers opening day roster. I thought he would get up there for sure this year. I didn't necessarily think it was going to be opening day, but he deserves that chance. He was so critical for the Sounds last year, so you love those successes, whether it's with your own parent club or somewhere else around the game, just because it's so hard to get to the big leagues. And then off the field, I'm looking forward to another great year with our fans. 2 years in a row now, the Sounds have been number one in all the minor leagues in total home attendance. So we know people in this market love baseball. We know they love to come out to the ballpark, even if they're not a diehard baseball fan. We've got something for everybody. So that combination last year of the volume of people who came out and what we had for them on the field, thanks to the Brewers, was really special, and there's no reason to think it can't continue in some capacity again this season.
We'll talk with Jeff Hem, Sounds play-by-play announcer. Now, Jeff, you said something interesting just a few seconds ago, because when we look at sports from a team aspect, especially professional sports, we think, okay, we have players within a locker room that sort of keeps everyone together, and that whether it be a leadership council or that captain or captains that sort of feels the temperature of the room and keeps everyone together, whether it's going great or not. But in this situation, because there's so much movement within the ball club, guys going up, guys coming back down, that sometimes you can't get too familiar with a guy. You can't get to know a guy the way you need to in order to make that happen. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, is it really imperative on a coach to continually make that happen, because he's really the only person that's the stable one? The coaching staff is the stable one in that bullpen, dugout.
Yeah, you're right, D-Mase. They play a critical role, because, like you said, they're going to be there all season. The guys on the team out on the field are going to come and go, and I think what what Rick Sweet, who's a veteran manager, I mean, top 10 all-time in minor league managerial wins, and his staff, our pitching coach, Jeremy Accardo, hitting coach is Al LaBeouf, and bench coach again this year is Ned Yost IV. They were all there last year, and they're going to be back with us this year. They do such a great job in enjoying the success of the guy who's going up, but then knowing after that one guy who's chosen to go up, there's 2 or 3 other guys who were in the mix to go up that didn't, and those are the guys that they're mindful of, and going to that player and said, hey, I know you wanted to be the one that's going up. Here's why you're not right now. Those are hard conversations to have, but I know that the players appreciate the honesty. They like knowing how they're being evaluated and what part of their game is maybe keeping them from the big leagues. And we always hear about players wanting to control what they can control. The Brewers and all these MLB teams, I think, do a great job of communicating to their players, not just being off in an office somewhere, but having real conversations of, hey, here's why we think you can get to the big leagues, or here's why you haven't, giving them things to work on so that when the next opportunity, in this case in Milwaukee, comes around, the guys know what can put them in a position to be the next guy. And the other special part of last year's team is those few guys who I mentioned in that example who may not have gone up in whatever time that was, they still found a way to be truly happy for the guy who did go up, which is not an easy thing. I mean, D-Mase, you lived it as an NFL wide receiver. I mean, there's no minor league football in that sense, but, if you're competing for all pro or whatever and you weren't the guy, but one of your teammates was, it's not always easy to truly deep down be happy for that teammate when you would have loved to have been in that scenario yourself. And that unselfishness is challenging at the AAA baseball level. But I think we had a special group last year of guys who, of course, wanted to be in the big leagues. But if they weren't, they found a way to enjoy the fact that some of their teammates were going up.
It is pretty cool to think about the parallels, the Nashville-Milwaukee connection with most of the Predators right now.
Yeah, you know it, Willy. Yeah,
this year. Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing to watch, and the Brewers and the Sounds have that same kind of relationship. Jeff, I want to ask you. Major League Baseball is implementing all these rules this year, and you've seen it. You've been watching it the last year or two in AAA, where they've implemented these rules, so you have a better view. I know there were a lot of Major League Baseball fans I was watching, like national people, who were saying, man, I don't know about this pitch clock and everything like that. Mess up the game. Baseball shouldn't have a clock. And I just kept thinking, they need to talk to some AAA people because it's not time to panic here, because it really has helped. And I think after about a month of minor league ball games, I think they're starting to get the picture.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I absolutely loved it. And basically, for listeners who aren't familiar, almost every part of what MLB is doing this year, we were the testing ground at AAA last year. The only part we didn't have that we will also have at like the MLB level is now no more shifting. You've got to have 2 infielders on the left of second and 2 on the right. You can't put the second baseman out in shallow right field to take away the left-handed batter who's got some power. So we're the same in that way this year as the major league level. But, yeah, we had the pitch clocks last year. They're wonderful. It didn't affect the runs per game. It wasn't as though everything was all of a sudden a 1-0 game because of the pitch clocks. It truly cut out the little bits and pieces of nothingness in a ball game that add up over time. If there's any MLB fan out there who's hesitant to like it or still not sure about it, trust me, you will over time like it. I think the players will adapt, some more easily than others. But, the first 2 weeks when we had it last year, it was extremely noticeable, and we had extremely quick games. Then pitchers started to realize, okay, that 15 seconds, that 20 seconds, that's a lot more time than I thought it was. And instead of delivering the next pitch with like 11 seconds left on the pitch clock, it was more like 3 or 4 seconds or 1 or 2. And so the games leveled out to be in that sweet spot, 2.5, 2 hours, 40 minutes, not the hour 51 outlier, but also rarely did we go 3 hours last year, 3:08, 3:11, those kind of games. So there's so much to like with it. I'm curious how the shifting rules play out, but the actual pitch clocks at the MLB level has been long needed. And as amazing as the World Baseball Classic was, those were extremely lengthy games, and it was noticeable because they did not have the pitch clocks compared to what spring training was having as that was going on concurrently. So it's really noticeable right away. I think the players and fans will kind of forget that it's there as the season goes along, and maybe a time or two every few games you'll have a violation, but I don't think it's going to be intrusive. I think it's only going to be a positive, and this is for the fans. Make no mistake about it. This is for the fans and our attention spans and our enjoyment of the game and increasing action. It is all with the fan in mind, and as a fan of the game, I absolutely love it.
Jeff Hem, Nashville Sounds play-by-play broadcaster. Appreciate you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at the park very soon.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We start Friday night. We've got fireworks after the game. We've got an opening weekend ticket bundle opportunity out there with a T-shirt as well. So we'll look forward to seeing everybody this weekend and throughout the spring and summer.
Awesome. We'll see you there. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
All right, Jeff Hem, play-by-play announcer for the Nashville Sounds. I will be there on Saturday. Very much so looking forward to it. We'll get right back into your phones coming up next. It's Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 at the game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments so the first payment is not until summer of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Does this sound familiar?
We have the worst agent in town, and we couldn't be more miserable. They showed up late to every showing, convinced us to lower the price way below market value, and let the cat in the house. We didn't even have a cat, but in the end, we never sold our house and lost our dream home. Hire our terrible agent and see the results for yourself. You'll totally regret it.
Don't let that happen. Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred so often by home buyers and sellers. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Office number 615-432-2919.
Start your day with a cup of Joe. He's gonna think that's stupid.
Wait, what?
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode. There, that sounds better.
Thank you so much.
Weekdays from 6 to 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Mark, what were the emotions like on the bench from the very outset of the game?
Emotions were high. Obviously, I want to open off by start by saying, that game, that win, that was for all the families and friends that were affected by that senseless tragedy, and the first responders. We all saw the videos of them going in and sacrificing themselves, and for the city of Nashville. There's a lot of things that are bigger than hockey, and that game right there, that was for all of them.
That was Mark Jankowski post-game, and that was it. You could tell the Predators were playing with a little bit extra last night. They were playing for the city of Nashville last night. We have a bunch of people tuning in on the Predators game last night, so unless we have a thought.
Oh, to the phones.
To the phones. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. One texter texts in last night and says, what I should text in now, not last night, geez. Says, listening to the Preds win on the Bruins broadcast was special. The spokesmen were literally in shock. I knew then that we had the mojo last night. Shout out to the Predators for an amazing performance.
That was cool. Mark, was that Mark Jankowski?
It was.
He played his college hockey right across, not far from there at Providence. So he's very familiar with that area, and hopefully I can get this out without having another wave of emotion here. But, I know a lot of the players. He mentioned the first responders, and I don't know if you guys watched what the Metro Police Department released, the body cam, but I was just so inspired by the teamwork, the decisiveness that they had, the coordination that they had in obviously an unbelievable situation, but the grace under pressure. We know the situation. We know how sad it is that we lost lives, but I'll tell you what, you can't help but think that they saved a lot of. There's no way to know, but my gosh, they were amazing at doing their job. So I want to salute them, and I know the team, from the coaches on down, they saw that, and that for a team to watch a team like that, heroics, that gets to you. It really does. And so Mark Jankowski recognizing them, I salute him for doing that.
Absolutely. What the first responders did on Monday at the Coventry School was truly nothing short of heroic. And the response time, it was a matter of minutes from when they were dispatched until the suspect was on the ground. And so they worked with such swiftness and so much teamwork, and it is truly inspiring what they did. I watched the body cam footage this morning, and admittedly I broke down in tears. Watching it, hearing about it, and watching the newscast and understanding what happens, that's one thing. Watching it and actually seeing a first-hand account of what happened, it'll stay with me. It absolutely will stay with me.
Yeah, you look at it, and I'm sure, the Nashville Police Department and other law enforcement that were involved in this, you learn from others' mistakes. I'm sure they watch what happened in what was it, Uvalde, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah.
They learn from that. They learn that, listen, we are here to protect when something goes down. We have to put everything else aside and go in to protect those that are in harm. They watch as the world watched, the country watched what happened in Uvalde. They didn't. They waited. And it was even more tragic than what it needed to be. It shouldn't have happened at all. But you learn from others' mistakes. And I'm sure that once that happened, whether it be the police force here or in some other city, looked at that and said, we need to go over our plan again and make sure our response time is as quick as possible. There need to be no dead time, excuse my words, no time where we're just sitting and waiting. Once we get the call, we go in. If you're there first, you go in. That's your job. You took on that oath. And that's what the police officers here in Nashville did. And you just got to take your hats off to them, because they got families too. And they put all of that aside to try to protect those kids and those men and women in that building.
Another texter echoes the same sentiment. It says all the officers that responded were nothing short of heroic. Our fire department right there by their side, heroic. The call takers that answered the call, the dispatchers who manned the radios, both command and for fire and EMS, were heroic. Nashville should be proud to have all of these individuals as their protectors and guardians. Together, we will all remain Nashville strong. Absolutely. I think that we all commend every single person who was responsible for getting those men and women, the first responders, into that school and to ensure that there were no more senseless lives taken that day. Dave in Big Rock texts in It says, longtime listener, I would like you all to know how valuable the job you're doing is. Thank you. I know it's not easy talking about hockey or football the past couple of days in the wake of such a tragedy. Just know that there's a ton of people like me who are out there, who are parents of young children who can't make sense of any of it and are heavily affected, who have just needed a bit to turn on the radio, listen about the draft, listen about beating the Bruins on the drive-in or on a break. Appreciate the sentiment because it has been hard. It's been hard for everyone. It's been hard for everyone to just try and move on and act like nothing has happened and just move on with life as normal whenever life isn't normal anymore. Whenever we can't act like nothing happened because the tragedy just struck the city. But I think it's something that we all pride ourselves on. Me, D-Mase, Willy, Nick, everyone within this building, everyone at this station prides ourselves on these shows being for you. This is an outlet for you. This is an echo of how you feel about the city and the sports teams and the Titans and the Predators and Vanderbilt and the Tennessee Vols, so on and so forth. But we are here for you, no matter what. That's what this show is about.
Yeah, I was talking with, just going back and forth with a friend of mine yesterday, and obviously they were outraged. And, my thing was, when I can't say for you, Caroline, because Willie and I are a little bit older than you. We're not going to say how much older, but we're older than you, as well as Nick as well. We're older than you. We can be your parents. I just leave it at that. But when Willie and I, were in school, we had drills for tornadoes, earthquakes, even though we didn't have any in Michigan. Storms, fires. We would do a fire drill all the time, and we loved it because we got to go out of school and miss a little bit of class. So when the fire drill came, we loved it. Exactly, like 15, 20 minutes of no work, great. But those were the only things that we had to worry about. Those were the only drills that we did, like fire drills, hurricane drills, or bad storm, tornadoes, earthquakes. If you lived in an earthquake area. Those are the drills that we did. I couldn't imagine being a kid now. And not only do we have to go through drills for weather. Thank God we don't have earthquakes here. But they have to go through, the drills that they do. But then on top of that, we got to go through, or they have to go through an active shooter drill. I can't even, a 5-year-old kid got to go through a drill like that. That's unfathomable. That's something that you, as a parent, I don't send my kid to school to have to go through drills like that. I send my kid to school to learn, to be with their friends, to build a community with their friends. I know they're going to have drills for tornadoes and stuff like that. I know that. But never would I have thought I would send my kid to school and they got to do an active shooter drill. Where are we going? Where we went from doing drills for tornadoes and storms, which they still do, to, let's add this other drill, an active shooter drill. Why?
It's a shame that it's an unfortunate reality that we're facing. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Jonathan Hutton of Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow will join us coming up next. It's Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
Most people picked them to make the playoffs before the season even started.
And your source for Nashville sports.
He can still wait for 5 more games before he makes that decision.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
We at Cromwell Media are heartbroken by the horrific and senseless shooting that took place Monday, March 27th at the Covenant School here in Nashville. Because of the outpouring of love from our generous and thoughtful community, the Community Foundation has established the Caring for Covenant Fund to manage donations made in response to this tragedy. All donations made to the fund will be directed to the Covenant School to support the healing of those affected by this tragedy. Together, we will send a message of love and compassion. To donate to the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee, visit cfmt.org.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Keyser. The Preds kicked off their 2-game roadie, taking down the NHL's best Boston Bruins 2-1 last night. Thanks to goals from forwards Cody Glass and Cole Smith, Boston has now only lost in regulation 4 times at home this season. Forward Luke Evangelista joined Chase and Michelle today, weighing in on the win.
That was huge for us, and with the Winnipeg loss last night too, we're making some ground in the standings. So, I think if we're able to, get some momentum off that win and gain some confidence, that'd be huge for the group.
And down in Memphis, the Grizzlies took down the Orlando Magic 113-108. Desmond Bain led Memphis with 31 points. The Grizzlies will be back in action tonight and Friday against the LA Clippers. And AAA baseball is back in Nashville on Friday as the Sounds will kick off their season against the Louisville Bats with first pitch at 6:35 p.m. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit theGameNashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 1025 and 106.3.
A gutty performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 1025 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We are live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook Sports. Jonathan Hutton of Hot Mike and Hutton and Withrow joins us now. Love the renovation to the show, Hutton. Big fan.
Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
Yeah, I like renovation is correct, Caroline. It's the same show. They gave us a revamp, and they're building a network out with a bunch of different shows. So it's going to be cool. And luckily for Chad and I, we're first up, and we went to New York last week. Luckily, it timed up with Madison Square Garden and the Vols for Chad and Clay. And I was, I guess, the only happy one in any way possible on the flight back.
Renovation, not a rebuild.
Yeah. Oh, yes. It's the Titans motto. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. And speaking of the Titans, Paul Koharski was on Robbie and Rexrode this morning, and he was asked, hey, do you think that the stadium has any impact financially on how the team is going to be built in the next few seasons? And honestly, I kind of thought, yes, it had. And it was frustrating to me. Say, hey, is your sights set on the stadium and not really more as building the team right now? Paul said, I thought that it was, but now being at the owners' meetings, it's not necessarily the case. What is your perception of the Titans and the financial situation that they're in now? And if the stadium isn't impacting the Titans and how they're building a team financially, then what is the plan with how they're going to build up this team for 2023, seeing they've gotten pieces on the cheap so far?
Yeah, I mean, the deadline is coming up for all teams to be financially within the parameters of the league, with cash on hand, what's liquid, what's not, all of it. So that's also part of the discussion about who's going to actually have the $6 billion to buy the Washington Commanders. So the Titans are certainly within that scope. They're not going to liquidate everything, give it to the stadium, and then not be within the rules and framework of one of the 32 teams. So let's put that out there. It's not there's not room to panic here. I do think they have to be, I mean, when you look at the finances and who they want to sign, Jeffrey Simmons being first on the list, and then what they're planning for long term. I mean, to me, if I'm running the organization and if I'm hiring a new general manager, Rand Carthon was brought in, guys, to build back this roster with its depth and make it competitive, and more competitive than what it has been, even when they haven't had the depth necessary. And it's been the quote-unquote next man up. And it got to a point where that wasn't cutting it, right? We all saw it. But they also, like, if I'm running, I'm also saying, like, I want to be peaking roster-wise by the time we open that stadium. And while that seems like a long time away, the next few off seasons will set that up one way or the other. And based on the path that they were taking, they were not headed to that direction. So I do think it factors in from what they're doing. I don't think it factors in for how they spend their money, because unlike several teams that have gone out and just poured money into free agency, they didn't have the luxury of being the Chicago Bears with a rookie, not a rookie, but a quarterback on their rookie contract. They're paying Ryan Tannehill more than what Ryan Tannehill will get on the open market. In that regard, they have money locked up at two positions where they chose to go and make the team what it was, Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. They didn't pay A.J. Brown because that's not their identity. And now they have a chance to reframe that. But at the same time, they're still stuck with those two contracts as long as they're on the roster. They can make room on the roster, on the cap for the roster by moving those guys. But based on what I heard from Rand Carthon, they're not trading Derrick Henry. And who knows about Tannehill because Lamar Jackson's out there.
Interesting. Do you think that there is do you think that Lamar Jackson's status has any implication on Ryan Tannehill and his future with the Titans?
Well, I just thought it was interesting how Vrabel answered the question. That's all. He was very definitive a year ago when all the rumors started swirling about AJ. And they weren't rumors. I mean, he did take down all mentions on social media and all that stuff, right? But it did lead to what it led to. And Vrabel did say they're not trading him. Like, they're keeping him. And then they traded him. We've been over that. But the way he answered this was, yeah, Tannehill's the starter, but I'm not going to sit here and call anyone on the roster for September as we sit here in March. The way they've played this is they have their options open. And if I'm the Titans, if I'm any team, honestly, I'm waiting to see what falls to me in the draft before I pay Lamar Jackson more than what Baltimore would match. And I'm not even sure if the Ravens would match at this point based on what Lamar Jackson wants. So, and he wants to be traded. So with all that in mind, I mean, I think it's a possibility, but financially, to your question, I don't think it makes a lot of sense long term.
Now, Hut, it may not. It's yet to be determined. In this situation, but you brought up something interesting about the stadium deal and them moving to the stadium, and I echo that sentiment because I've been on that bandwagon. It seems like by myself for the longest, where this team, and you said it, the way this team was trending, they possibly were not going to be. Once they move into that stadium, they were not going to be trending in the right way because of older players, contracts, and everything else. So what happened to them the last two seasons may have been a blessing in disguise. It forced them now to get rid of sort of, the players that were weighing them down with contracts. And then in doing that, I believe they want to slow play this and in hopes to, before they move into that stadium, get their franchise quarterback, because I don't think they want to go into that stadium with someone else's quarterback, with a quarterback that has already been in the league 8, 9, 10 years, and then you go into a stadium and everyone's looking for you to win. You want to go into a new stadium, a la Adelphia, a la Steve McNair, with your quarterback and win with your quarterback. I truly believe that's what they're thinking in a sense.
Yeah, and I mean, also look at the stacked AFC. If you just start, you're not competing with those teams until you have your franchise guy. There is a common thread with all of the teams that we would put at the top of the AFC for Super Bowl contention, and it starts at that position. There's no doubt. Tannehill has been good for the Tennessee Titans. He came in from the outside, and he provided exactly what they needed for what they were going to run offensively. And I think the mentality has been, we're going to play great defense and we're going to be good on offense, right? That's the bar. And they have a chance to change that with a franchise quarterback. Lamar Jackson can be that guy. He also fits the mentality of what they've been doing anyway. But I don't think financially it's the right path and course of action based on how it handcuffs you at other positions. And the Titans have so many question marks even though they've done a decent job of, I mean, they went on the cheap, Caroline, to your point, but they also, to me, got the same type of production for what they were paying way too much for with other guys that they let go. So I don't think they've dropped off in production. I can't sit here and say they're drastically better either. And, it's going to take more than one off season to put that, to rest. I mean, they had a good draft last year. I don't want to say that everything was doom and gloom. I think their draft class last year, as we sit here today, would be like a top 10 class for what we saw across the NFL for where I think these players are going. But when you put everything together and you put all of the swings and misses on the offensive line, combined with the fact that Tannehill and Henry are going in the last year of their contract to where you don't owe them anything past this year, I wouldn't extend them and then take a cap hit later when you can be done with it after this season. And then after that, I mean, then you have a chance to really chart your course. And I think you can be competitive by doing that. I'm not saying throw in the towel. I'm saying just look ahead while also trying to be competitive and win games now.
Also, Hut, you said something else about this team resetting the identity. This is a chance for them to reset. You're right about that statement, but haven't they had several other times where they should have reset as an organization, meaning their identity? Even though Rand Carthon comes in and says you can't play Golden State Warrior football in late November, December. Well, you got to be able to score points before that and get yourself in a position where if you choose to play that way, you can, and you got some leeway, and you may be able to win some games like that. I just don't think this team, until they change and sort of get with the program in a sense of this is a wide open passing league. Yes, you have to be able to run the football, but we've seen whether it's Tampa, Kansas City within the last 3 years, those teams are highly capable passing teams that can run the football when they need to. I think the Titans sometimes look at it the other way, where we got to run the football and passing is almost secondary.
But for the most part, I'm right on board with you. But what I saw in the 2020 season with a 4,000-yard passer and a 2,000-yard rusher, AJ was a 1,000-yard receiver. Corey Davis should have been, but he missed 2 games because I think he could have played, but they held him out for the postseason with a hamstring tightness deal. Jonnu Smith and the combination of what they did at tight end gave them roughly 400 yards that season as well. I mean, they I think they averaged like 26 points per game.
But then they go away from it.
Well, Arthur Smith got hired by Atlanta.
Yeah.
And they hired Todd Downing. Like there was a drop off in that area. But here's the other thing that happened: Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith. It was time for them to get paid, and that goes all to my overriding point. Like the money was in the backfield, the money was at quarterback moving forward, and they didn't have the money to keep either guy for what they thought they were. Now, Jonnu didn't do anything in New England. And Corey Davis has been just as hamstrung in New York. He's going to be a salary cap cut probably post June 1st, or he's going to be a part of this trade. Point being, they have a chance now with Treylon Burks to play the Corey Davis role, not in production, but he's going to be the quote-unquote older guy. They can draft another wide receiver. They need to hit on these guys. And that's what they did, and they paired players together that allowed the offense to be more unpredictable, more on 3rd and 4. What are they going to do on 3rd and 2? They were throwing passes that season, and they were still productive in the run. That they haven't been that team, and even this past season, they weren't the running team. Period, based on the offensive line play. So, I do think they can put up points and have the mentality that they've had. I don't think Vrabel's going away from that. But I also think this is a chance to add in some things that maybe they haven't really accepted or taken in the way that maybe they have a chance to do now. I don't think they're going to rebrand everything and call it something that it's not. but I do think they can add in more of a sizzle to what they're doing, much like they had under Vrabel with Arthur Smith a couple of seasons ago.
More from Jonathan Hutton coming up next. It's Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robbie and Rexrode for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Hey, it's Jared for Hiller. Sometimes replacing equipment in your home can be overlooked until something breaks, but there's actually big problems that can come from outdated old vintage HVAC systems. Older systems require more maintenance and results in higher utility bills. This month during Hiller's Vintage Showdown, they're giving away a free HVAC system to the owner of the oldest unit. It's easy to enter. Just go online to happyhiller.com and submit a picture of your old unit. Everybody wins with a trade-in credit and 0% interest financing for up to 48 months on replacement. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Sports and leadership go hand in hand. In fact, 94% of women executives were student athletes. Play Like a Girl is creating a more equal playing field for the next generation of women in leadership. You can help too. Become a mentor, donor, or volunteer. Learn more at iplaylikeagirl.org/mentor.
When looking to buy or sell a new home, economy comes into play, right? Hey, it's Withrow. Hunter, Richard, and the crew at Regal Realty Group are in the know about the housing market. Rates have started going back down and are more feasible, and Nashville is on the upswing again. The Regal Realty Group team can help you from contract to closing and everything in between. Their in-house title company, Monarch, will even come to wherever you are to close. These days, it's all about convenience, and Regal Realty Group makes it so convenient. Give them a call at 866-OUTKICK and let them get to work for you.
Progressive protects more than just your home and car. You could save when you bundle your motorcycles, ATVs, boats, and RVs. Doesn't that sound good? Like the sound of your boat cruising along the Intercoastal. And there's the sound of the prop hitting a really big rock. And now the sound of waves, because the engine stopped. But you know what does sound good? You're covered with Progressive. So bundle all your vehicles and home in one place and save with the multi-policy discount. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. And hey, you can join us and the Predators Energy team at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs tomorrow for the Predators Road Watch Party as your Nashville Preds take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Stop by and enjoy Brewhouse South 70 beers on tap, classic American menu along with Cajun, Southwestern, and Island comfort food. That's 102.5 The Game and Preds Energy team at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Jonathan Hutton, Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow is on with us now.
Hey, Hut, before we get back at Madison Square Garden, I know Tennessee losing probably didn't help for a lot of the people locally here, but your thoughts on the venue?
Willy, first off, I walk into the place and I'm immediately thinking about all the moments and concerts and, just the Knicks, anything. I'm thinking about the fights and Muhammad Ali, and you sit down and you look around, and to me, what sunk in as I look at the ceiling, I don't know if you do this in arenas or not, but like that was more describable of where I was based on the NCAA tournament stuff, which is they make everything sterile, and you can't do that at Madison Square Garden, no matter what you try to do to it. That's how I would describe it. I loved it. We were going to stay for the Saturday games, but ended up coming back early based on the results. But the crowd was good, and I was surprised that the crowd was as good as it was for FAU and Kansas State, quite frankly. I'm all on board with the Owls. I love their story. I love the fact that it's a 9 seed that won 30 plus games, now 35. And the way the crowd got behind them was really cool, especially considering they were coming off the overtime game, the game prior with Kansas State.
How much do you think it affected the game, the crowd getting behind? Because we talk about that some NCAA tournament upsets. That's part of the formula, right?
Yeah. I don't think it affected Tennessee, though. I just thought FAU executed, and Tennessee down the stretch didn't. It was once they got up by 7 or 8 points in the second half, it just kind of felt like they took the air out of the sails of the Vols, and it should have been the opposite way. And on center stage, I think what the path for FAU is just as important as who they are and where they've been versus how much money they're spending on a program compared to others, and what the coach is getting paid compared to who's down the baseline from him or the sideline from him. I'm fascinated by the story and the path, because they said they were at the world's most famous arena and didn't bat an eye in either game. That to me is why I'm not counting them out for either game as they head to NRG Stadium.
Yeah, and the story, like you said, is pretty cool, because they don't have, from what I can tell, a bunch of hired gun transfers from Power 5 schools. It looks like a pretty regularly recruited guy with a coach that you told a great story about their coach.
Yeah.
That, this is his first time. It's not like he's, washed out some other program and, got fired and trying to restart. This is an up-and-coming coach that just kind of came out of nowhere.
Dusty May is making $350,000 a year at Florida Atlantic, and he took the job and went and spoke to the team in the locker room right after he took the gig, his head coach for the first time. And then he turns around, goes home, or his wife is there, I guess, after the presser, and he's crying, saying, I feel like I've made a huge mistake. Like, I'm not ready for this. I'm in over my head. Like, I'm just not the guy yet. And now he's in the Final Four. Florida Atlantic spends about a little over $2 million on that program a year. And when you compare that to other programs that we're used to, including Tennessee, UConn spends over $16 million a year on their basketball program. And, the results speak for themselves for the men's and women's program there. But in regards to Florida Atlantic, the 9 seed and the path that they took, and they're known for shooting the three, and they haven't really shot the three well consistently through this tournament. And that's what intrigues me, is if they catch fire for what they're known for after already winning without doing what they're known for. I'm fascinated by the matchups and what it could mean for college basketball moving forward if one of these two teams wins, FAU or San Diego State.
Yeah, it's great stuff. The football quarterbacks always move up the draft board. It's pretty interesting. So just give me your thoughts. We were kicking around the mock draft yesterday that the ESPN was throwing around there. And of course, it's one guy's opinion, really, but Anthony Richardson to the Titans, what are your thoughts?
It's a great – so Anthony Richardson to me is – and I know he's going to go higher than the guy I'm about to put in the boat with him, but Hendon Hooker. There are certain quarterbacks in this draft that I feel like need a little time. And – while time is not on Hendon Hooker's side, it has to be that way based on his injury. And I mean that for his age. It's the opposite for Anthony Richardson. And there are a handful of teams that make a ton of sense based on their quarterback situation. You've got Tannehill here, and by keeping him on the roster now without using the cap space availability that you could move him and gain, I think it keeps options open for the quarterback they could add behind him. It's not Malik Willis. I think we know that. I understand why he's on the roster right now, but if you're at 11 and a chance to move up and get a guy like with the high ceiling, to me is why Richardson is worth it. He also has the lowest floor to me of the 4 quarterbacks being discussed, but the high ceiling is above any of the other 3 that are going in the first round, at least consensus wise going in the first round, most of them top 10. I don't think the Titans get him at 11, but I do feel like the Titans are the most unpredictable team for where they sit, and having the new GM and not really knowing, okay, are they going all in one more time with Tannehill? Are they not? Or what are they looking for this offseason, and where are they trying to upgrade? If you bring in Richardson, it's a lot like the Bears treated Justin Fields. They signed Andy Dalton, and their team account that year tweeted out QB1. And then they drafted Justin Fields and doubled down on it, saying Andy Dalton was QB1. So it's not out of the realm of possibility they could do that here. I just don't think that Richardson's going to be around very long. By the way, Andy Dalton's now in Carolina. Let me put that out there. So if you're in love with what he could be, meaning Richardson, and you feel like he could be the franchise player a couple of years from now, maybe you make that pick within the top 2 or 3 picks of this draft, and I think they will. I think he's gone before the Colts could get him at 4.
Jonathan Hutton is with us. Hutton, what in the world are the Titans going to do at backup quarterback?
I think it's going to be a rookie.
Ooh.
That's and it's not the rookie from last year. I think they will make it a competition in some way. But I absolutely would be drafting a quarterback and pairing them behind Tannehill, at least as you start the season. I'm all on board with the idea that Tannehill's the starter this year, and then you don't owe him or Henry anything after this season, and you have a chance to develop your QB with, let's be honest, with the offensive coordinator that Vrabel tried to hire a couple of years ago when Arthur Smith left, but the Texans blocked them, and now he's got the guy. Albeit he may have wanted someone else and was waiting on someone else to chat with them, and that didn't come down, so they end back up with Kelly. So I like their options for the backup QB position, and if they're drafting a quarterback in where they are at 11, that guy's going to be the starter by the end of the season, if not as we get going here, based on how they move Tannehill.
D-Mase said yesterday that he thinks Stetson Bennett is going to go in the second round of the NFL draft. Should I check D-Mase's temperature?
That's my gotcha. Watch out. That could be.
Oh, come on. Okay, hang on. Who's drafting Stetson Bennett in the second round, D-Mase?
Okay.
Help me here.
You got to hear me out quickly, and I'm going to make this very quick. Stetson Bennett, he physically doesn't wow you. But I listened to Mike Vrabel, and Mike Vrabel said, listen, when we're talking about quarterbacks, accuracy, leadership, toughness, those are the 3 things that he said. And beside those 3 quarterbacks, let's just say C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, and Hendon Hooker, I'm not even putting Richardson and Levis in there. Levis, it's a different story, but we know about Richardson. His accuracy needs a lot of work.
Yes, and he's young, and he needed another year, and he came out early. But he's the talk of the draft, so he did the right thing.
Absolutely. So you look at Stetson Bennett. He's a fighter. He's a winner. He's a leader. You look at his accuracy. Each year, he's gotten better. 2 years ago, they didn't ask him to win games. They didn't. They just said, throw it to the guys. Last year, he won games for them. He was the reason why they won games. If he's 2 years younger, he's in the mix now with those other guys. Maybe not Stroud and Bryce Young, but he's in the mix with Richardson and Levis and even Hendon Hooker, because he's proven he's a winner. He's accurate. He does the little things, and he's athletic. He can get outside the pocket and run. He does the little things that quarterbacks need to do. The problem is he's overshadowed by such a great team. And they always look at Georgia. Well, anybody could have won at Georgia. Well, if that's the case, Aaron Murray should have won at Georgia a lot of years ago. The guys before Stetson Bennett should have won, but they didn't. Stetson Bennett was the guy that was a two-time. I mean, they won it back-to-back, in a sense, with the same quarterback. That's why I look at it. He's going to end up getting drafted a lot higher than what many predict.
Well, higher than what we predict, maybe. But I look at this and think you can get that guy as Mr. Irrelevant. You just described Brock Purdy.
But Brock Purdy didn't win two championships.
Well, I know, but the way you're describing Stetson Bennett, all those qualities, I feel like I can get Brock Purdy later in the draft. I look, that guy's going to have a statue in Athens. To your point, which is crazy to think about, considering they didn't even want him on the roster whenever he tried to walk on initially. It's an amazing story. I absolutely agree that he's drafted. I would not have said that a year ago at this time. I just don't think it's that high. Second round is, man, that is a reach for a guy that, to me, at best, is a backup. And how many years is he a backup before he gets his chance? You know, like, and I realize we've had tons of stories at any position, and everyone will point to Brady as that story. But there are many others across the league over the history of this league. But I would draft another position at a much higher grade than before I would take Stetson Bennett on day 2.
Hey, listen, Hut, I'm with you, but don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if he is a second round pick.
Here's what
late
you're saying.
Second round pick.
Here's what you're saying, Mace. You're saying go throw $5 on the odds at Superbook. That's what you're saying. It's worth putting $5 out there to see if you can hit.
Hell, put $100 down. Might as well.
Well, I mean, I don't have your Baltimore contract, so.
Derek Mason, president of the Stetson Bennett fan club. Hutton, we appreciate you for joining us. We'll chat with you next week.
Thank you so much, guys. I always enjoy it.
All right, thanks, Hutton. You can check out Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow on A Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow on Outkick.com. But coming up next, the people have spoken, or at least NFL GMs and coaches, 10 of them have spoken about Lamar Jackson. And we'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
I think it's a really good move.
TD, it's never the offseason for ESPN's Teron Davenport.
I mean, that's something you obviously have to look at.
He's always talking about what's next for the Tennessee Titans.
Quarterback is a really important thing that they have to get determined.
Check out TD, Mondays at 1, Thursdays at 3, and Friday mornings at 8:30. Plus, the Talkin' with TD podcast.
Looking forward to that.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
In football, we all take our hits, but protection, that keeps you in the game. That's why I always wear a helmet and pads on the field. Life, too, comes with risks. So I got vaccinated and boosted for COVID-19. Hi, this is former Tennessee Titans tackle Brad Hopkins. Talk to your doctor. Get the information you need to make an informed choice. Gear up, Tennessee. Protect yourself and your family against COVID-19.
For more information, go to nflagearup.org/Tennessee.
We pride ourselves on being transparent, opening up the books, and sharing all the secrets of the diamond industry. We have a passion for this, and part of having a passion is sharing that passion.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper says, at Genesis, you don't just get an entry-level course in diamonds, you get a PhD.
We love educating our customers, even over-educating our customers about diamonds and gemstones, so they can truly see the difference in what we offer.
At Genesis, diamonds are not a side business. It's their only business.
We eat, breathe, and sleep diamonds.
So whether you end up buying at Genesis or not, come for the education.
The better educated we can make you at Genesis Diamonds, the better a shopper you're going to be, whether you shop with us or anyone else. You will be able to tell the difference and know what you are buying, so you make the best decision for you.
Genesis Diamonds, proud to offer one of the largest selections of GIA certified diamonds in the nation, with no middleman markups, no retail pricing games, no commission salespeople, and no nonsense. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey Nashville, Chef Phillip at Bar Lines at the Omni Hotel. Come try some of our new menu items like the Nashville Hot Fish and Chips, Nathan's Hot Dog Burn Ends, or the Nashville Chicken Jam Band. Go Preds.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Curation CBD, a Pick 10 company, offers high-quality, lab-tested CBD products curated for life for both you and your pet.
Hi, I'm Adam Intihar, also known as the Dog Father of Nashville. Curation 600 milligram CBD roll-on really helps me get through my training days. Applying it in the morning and again at night helps me take bites from dogs like Zulu or go on adventures with dogs like Lieutenant Dan. Curation is awesome.
Discover the full range of Curation products online at CurationCompany.com.
If you've experienced a concussion, the injury can result in temporary chemical changes inside the brain that can cause it to function improperly. The signs and symptoms may occur immediately or take several days to appear. The experienced doctors at Houston Clinic Orthopedics can diagnose your concussion and get you feeling back to normal with therapy and rehabilitative exercises. If you experience head injury signs such as headache, dizziness, nausea, sensitivity, ringing in ears, or problems with memory, balance, vision, or concentration, visit tn.houston.com to learn more and to book an appointment. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
102.5 and 106.3, The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rexrode, 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle, 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase, 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company, 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3, The Game.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5, The Game.
Has Lamar Jackson taken his last snap as a Baltimore Raven?
I feel like yes, G. I feel like Lamar Jackson is fed up. And remember, this has been a process over time. I think a lot of people think of this in context of all of the news that just came out this year. But remember last year, we were having conversations about Lamar Jackson's contract, and then he played a year without any guaranteed money or salary as far as a long term, and got injured. And now everybody talks about the 5 games missed 2 years ago and the 5 games missed this year. And you bring that up because now it is negotiating time and what he's asking for. So I feel like it, man. Look, 3 quarterbacks have requested trades as we've seen these last couple years cycle. Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, and now Aaron Rodgers. Presumably, all 3 of those dudes are going to be on different teams. So I just want to keep everybody, while they talk about, he tendered and Baltimore may be stubborn and they may hold out, but I don't think their quarterback is going to return to the facility and just play nice again. Remember, this would be again for Lamar Jackson going and trying to bet on himself to continue to increase his value. And now he's hearing that the 5 games missed and the time off the field has been used against him. Why would he show up without any guarantees or any long-term contract being done?
That was Marcus Spears on Get Up this morning. He said he thinks that Lamar Jackson has played his final snap with the Baltimore Ravens. That's fine, but I'll ask Marcus Spears this question. Then where's he going to play? Because there was an article on ESPN.com this morning that polled several different owners, GMs, and coaches throughout the NFL and asked them the question, would you pursue Lamar Jackson? Would you be interested in going after Lamar Jackson? And several of these teams, the Colts, the Panthers, the Falcons, the Patriots, the Seahawks, they're all teams that either need a quarterback or could upgrade at the quarterback position. And not a single NFL GM, coach, or owner could say definitively or even hint at the fact that they would be interested in pursuing Lamar Jackson. Almost all of them said, yeah, no, we're good with our team. We're good with where we are at in our salary cap situation. I would say the most glowing response to this question about Lamar Jackson came from Jim Irsay, which, shocker. D-Mase and I were just talking about that at the break, that we wouldn't be surprised if Lamar Jackson, or if the Colts at least tried to go after Lamar Jackson. But Jim Irsay said, anytime a special player is available, which he is, you've got to do the work, but you never know how any of this will work out. We're always looking for great players, but it's important to not compromise your future to do it. And that's kind of the overwhelming sentiment that I got from this article. Again, pulling 10 different coaches, GMs, or owners from 10 different franchises across the league. All of them said, look, we're happy with our team, and even though Lamar Jackson's a special player, we can't pay him that kind of money. And I'm kind of starting to feel bad for Lamar Jackson, to be totally honest with you. He bet on himself, and he's losing that bet.
Well, I mean, we may think Irsay is whatever, eccentric or whatever you want to call him. But one thing Irsay,
a nice word to say.
Yeah, one thing Irsay isn't is he's not a guy that's going to mince words. He's not. He's going to tell you how he feel at that moment. You may like it. You may not like it. You may think something's wrong with him. You may think, man, you're spot on. I think he's saying what others are scared to say because I was watching, I think it might have been Get Up, and it might have either been Marcus Spears or I think it was Marcus Spears, and it was a few other guys that were on there as well. And I think Marcus Spears brought up, listen, why owners don't want to touch this is because he wants guaranteed money. He wants all of it guaranteed. Nobody said anything, and we can argue, it over and over again, and I wouldn't win the argument when it comes to Mahomes if I was to argue that back and forth, so I wouldn't even do that. But no one said anything when Patrick Mahomes signed his contract and it gave him over $140, $50 million guaranteed. Nobody said anything about that. And I understand why. He's a Super Bowl winning guy. He's won the MVP. It seems like his career is going to continue to ascend. He's going to win more Super Bowls. Nobody said anything about Aaron Rodgers. His guarantee of $150 million, all of it guaranteed. And I get it. He won a Super Bowl, but that was when I was 2 years old when he won that Super Bowl. I was a toddler, I think. No, when he won that Super Bowl. Yes, he is a two-time reigning MVP. He's a two-time MVP. So nobody said anything about that contract. Nobody said anything about the Daniel Jones contract, the money he got guaranteed. All these quarterbacks, nobody said anything about their guaranteed money. But the minute Lamar wants all of it guaranteed, every bit of it, now people are like backing off the table like, oh, okay. I guarantee if Lamar said, give me, because Mahomes was 10 years, $500 million. We know a lot of it's funny money, but still, 10 years, $250 million, $500 million. Nobody blinked an eye at that. Nobody. They said it's a lot of money, but nobody said, no, he doesn't deserve or he's not worth, X amount of guaranteed money. Everybody was like, fine. Why? Because the whole contract isn't guaranteed.
He won a Super Bowl.
And
Super
he
Bowl
just won
MVP.
and I get that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I said I can't argue that.
Right.
But there are other quarterbacks that have gotten guaranteed. Nobody blinked when Kirk Cousins got guaranteed money 3 years ago. Okay, nobody blinked at the $80-something million that he got fully guaranteed, and Minnesota couldn't get out of it. Nobody said anything. Why? Because the monies wasn't high enough. If Lamar asked for $100 million guaranteed, everybody would be like, hell yeah, where do I sign? Because it's undervalued. If they're going to give you money if it's undervalued. They're not going to give you the fully guaranteed when it comes to a quarterback. Now, other positions, yes, because the money is not as great. But when it comes to a quarterback, they're not going to give you that contract fully guaranteed when you're talking upwards of a $200+ million. They're just not going to do that. If Lamar said, okay, I'll take a 5-year deal worth, I don't know, $300 or $250, or a 4-year deal worth $250, and guarantee me 70% of it. You know how many those same teams that talked about they wouldn't touch him, they'd be on the phone. Deal. Let's take it.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how much, and he want all of it guaranteed. That's what it's about. They don't want to be tied to that much money guaranteed because they know if he gets it, the next guy is going to want it. They're throwing the Watson stuff. Every team is kind of putting that to the side like that's just an outlier. But if a guy like Lamar Jackson gets it, it's not an outlier. It's what's coming down the pipe.
It's a trend.
Exactly. And they don't want that to become a trend.
Like Lamar. Yes. You're spot on. And it looks like Lamar Jackson, he's frustrated with the process, and now it seems like the strategy is, I'm going to try to make life miserable on the Ravens, and maybe burn the bridge if I have to. But I don't think that's going to get him the deal. If Derek, if what you're saying is he's holding out until he gets the guarantee, I don't know that he might burn the bridge with the Ravens, and somebody might get him on the cheap. Not going to end up strategy if I'm him.
Yeah, and to the point of the guaranteed contract, like I'll go back to whenever Daniel Jones signed his contract and the Ravens the same day placed Lamar Jackson on the non-exclusive franchise tag. I think it was RG3 who was like, well, why did Daniel Jones get his contract and overpaid for Daniel Jones, but Lamar Jackson isn't getting his contract because Daniel Jones wasn't demanding a fully guaranteed contract.
And they can get out of it after a couple of years.
And is Daniel Jones overpaid? Yeah. Yes, he is. I also think Derek Carr is overpaid. That's just the market of the quarterbacks that we're in right now, is quarterbacks are going to be overpaid because that's the market. If you're a quarterback-needy team that's bringing in a veteran quarterback like the Saints and Derek Carr, like Daniel Jones signing that second contract in New York, you're going to overpay him. That's just the reality of what it is. But you're not going to give him a fully guaranteed contract. Once you fully guarantee that contract, there's no getting out of that contract. Injuries, sour relationships between the player and the organization, no matter what happens, you are on the hook for that contract. They're basically an extension of your front office. And I don't know if any owner in the league wants to be on the hook for that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get into your thoughts on this. Your phone call, 615-737-1025. Preds game last night. Lamar Jackson, anything we touched on with Jonathan Hutton, it is all on the table. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
The crowd is standing on its feet. It's in the hole! It's in the hole!
Join 102.5 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament, benefiting Souls for Souls, June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebs.
Be the ball.
Support a great cause and have loads of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes. Sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at theGameNashville.com/golf.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture eats strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willy Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loan. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Cards issued by Celtic Bank, member FDIC.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
One is smart.
This has just been a constant trend for this team.
One is funny.
That's right.
Funny looking, maybe. Chase and Michelle with Chase McCabe and Michelle Knezovic.
Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Everybody's listening.
Weekdays from 9 to 11. Presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
AJ 1025 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament benefiting Souls for Souls on June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities to support a great cause and have loads of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes, so sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at thegamenashville.com/golf. Unless we have thoughts?
Let's go to the phone.
To the phones. Phone lines driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you have a thought, Billy is on the line. What's up, Billy?
What's happening with you? You know, I heard you guys talking about Lamar and comparing him. Well, what's the major difference with Lamar? He's doing his own negotiating. He don't have no super agent, nobody. So the powers to be is like, who do you think you are, boy? You're not getting nothing. I wouldn't believe if he would never play again in the NFL because it doesn't matter about your talent. It's what matters if you're a good boy or you know what I'm talking about.
I don't know if that's necessarily fair to say it's not
Thank
about
you, Billy.
your
Appreciate
talent.
it.
Yeah, thanks for your call, Billy. I do think that there's a little bit of truth to the agent.
Exactly.
That an agent could have helped Lamar through the negotiations, could have guided Lamar, given him some advice of, hey, take this deal, don't take this deal. Hey, maybe don't tweet this. Hey, maybe this is, we'll walk through your contract. Maybe fully guaranteed isn't the best thing to go about right now, but we'll get you your money, we'll get you paid. I do think the agent is a big part of it, but to say it's not about your talent, I think is so off base.
I just don't think they want to go down that road. I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Joe Burrow, it's whoever. Name Josh Allen, name the quarterback out in L.A. with the Chargers. Justin Herbert. I don't care who it is, quarterback. When you start getting into the 150, 200, 250, 300, and you're talking, I want it all fully guaranteed, that's when, friends become enemies. It's like, oh, yeah, shake. Oh, like, oh, whoa. What did you just say? Okay, we'll get back with you. And you never hear from them again. Money make people do funny things. And in this situation, it has caused these owners to say, we don't want to go down that road. And I do truly believe it would be the same with any quarterback out there. When you start talking that money, now they'll guarantee you $100 million for a quarterback. Oh, here, take it. 150, take it.
Chump change.
Absolutely. But when you start getting into that 250, 300, that's when they back off the table. It's like, whoa, I don't care. I understand you won a Super Bowl. I understand you won 2 or 3 MVPs, but I don't know. That's too rich for our blood right now, even though it's not. But they say it is. So it's going to be a hard it's going to be a hard hill to climb, and there's obstacles already because they keep on talking about your injuries and all this other stuff, which to me it doesn't matter. But along with the injuries, they say we don't want to pay. We don't want to set the precedent of paying guaranteed money to quarterbacks.
I think I got a question for you guys. Because we've said, the Ravens have played this smart. They understood the market. They understood that nobody wants to set the precedent for the guaranteed money. So they have the upper hand negotiating-wise, regardless of whether he's got an agent or not. But my question is, if the Ravens win this battle from a negotiating standpoint, but as a result with Lamar Jackson, and he ends up just not wanting to play for them or just uninspired, and it ends up being a lose-lose, then what have they really accomplished? To me, that's what I would be worried about with the Ravens. From a business standpoint, they played this perfectly, and they've said all the right things. But I would worry that, hey, this guy is just going to flat out not play for us.
I mean, that Lamar can say, I'm not going to play for you, but once you get to July 17th, and there is no offer on the table for Lamar Jackson from any other team in the league, then he's locked into that contract. He's locked into that franchise tag for the 2023 season. So Lamar can say, I'm not playing for you. I'm not playing for this team. The Ravens can come back and say, okay, well, then we will fine you every single day that you're not here. And then it'll be $40,000 one day, $40,000 the next day. And that starts to add up. And he's like, okay, I don't care. I'm going to sit out every game this season. Well, that's fine. But you'll be fined those game checks. Mm-hmm. So now, after all of this, when you've been fighting for your money, when you've been fighting for what you're worth, which is what Lamar should do, but you've been fighting for the money that you think you're worth, now you're going to end up paying the Baltimore Ravens the money that you fought for, the money that you have earned. So I don't know if Lamar really can sit back and say, I am not going to play for you. Maybe the Ravens are going to be pushed to the point where they say, hey, we'll trade you, fine, but there's got to be a trading partner on the market.
He's going to get his money. He's going to get his $30-something million. I want to believe, not necessarily that he's going to play, but he get his $30 million or $30+ million by doing what? Showing up, being in the building, going to meetings, doing the things that he can do. Keyword, can do. Then got on the field and say, I'm hurt. I can't do anything. Mm-hmm. What are they going to do then? Now you have a player.
Tyler Huntley time.
Yeah. Now you have a player that sort of circumvented the rules. He's doing exactly what the rules are allowing him to do. Because we said this about A.J. Brown a few years ago. Like, Jeffrey Simmons, same thing. I'm coming to camp, but what did Vrabel do? Jeff's on his own deal. He's on his own. He's working out. He's on his own deal. You know, we're handling this the way we are going to do this. But Jeff is in the building. It's the same thing with Lamar. And any player, not just Lamar, but any player. I feel if you're in a situation like that where you're negotiating and you're going back and forth and it's coming down to a wire, nobody really wants to budge. As a player, the smartest thing you can do is say, okay, all right, I'm going to come in. I'm going to be in meetings. I'm going to do everything that I am supposed to do or can do. But when it comes to getting on that field and doing stuff, man, just don't feel right. My back, my hamstring, my knee, the PCL, my knee is still bothering me. Ravens can't do anything.
I guess that's right.
They can't force him to go out there. He's not causing a distraction. He's just saying, listen, I'm physically not able to do what I need to do. And I'm not going out there until I'm 100%, whenever that is.
Fair. But then the Ravens probably aren't signing you to another deal. And
he wants out.
What's your value on the market?
He wants a
lose-lose.
No. It's not a lose-lose. It's because everybody would understand why he's doing what he's doing. Whether they like it or don't. Everybody will understand why he's doing what he's doing. He's exercising what little leverage he does have as a player. Give him that. He's exercising that loophole, whatever it is, and teams are looking at it and they figure, okay, he goes through the season, he doesn't play, he's fully healthy, and if Baltimore wants to just let him walk, we're going to sign him now. Why? Because we don't have to give up any picks.
Let's get to Doug's thought very quickly. What's up, Doug?
Hey, guys, I'll go in another direction, another player, another quarterback. The Aaron Rodgers soap opera is getting ugly. Fast forward, he's going to the Jets. Fast forward more, he goes into Hall of Fame. what are the chances that he's tainting that relationship that he goes in as a Green Bay Packer? Because we know that's what, he's going to be known as, but can they say that the relationship's that tainted that he doesn't go in as a Green Bay Packer?
Yeah, thanks for your call, Doug. I have no idea.
I think he still goes in
I
as
think
a Packer.
he goes in as a Packer.
Yeah, it's the name, the colors, the fans. He loved them. Green Bay is the only team that has fans have ownership. So it's not just the organization like president and all those. It's the fans for him. So when he does retire, I think he still goes in the Hall of Fame if he wants to as a Green Bay Packer.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
And he'll probably play for the Jets a year, maybe two.
Yeah.
He's played for the Packers for how long?
Exactly.
20 years, maybe. So not that long, but a long time, a majority of his career. So it wouldn't surprise me. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. And I know whenever Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon talk about this, it's going to make headlines. But it's getting to a certain point with me where it's a headline, but it doesn't really mean anything to me anymore. And we'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, 1025-1063 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
312 Pizza Company is your spot for the best Chicago-style eats right here in Nashville. From thin crust pizza to deep dish pizza to Italian beef sandwiches and Chicago dogs. Doesn't get much better than that. Until now. 312 Pizza Company is now serving up their award-winning pizza by the slice. All day, every day. Don't have time to wait for a full pie? No problem. Get a slice instead. Order a full pie but want a little more? Add another slice. Do it. Honestly, just go get a slice. 312 Pizza Company. Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria. Go get a slice.
Now, your Game Center update.
This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. This is Nick Keyser. The Preds kicked off their two-game roadie last night in Boston, taking down the NHL's best 2-1, thanks to goals from Cody Glass and Cole Smith. Boston has now lost in regulation only 4 times at home this year. Forward Luke Evangelista joined Chase and Michelle today and weighed in on the win.
That was huge for us, and with the Winnipeg loss last night too, we're making some ground in the standings. So I think if we're able to get some momentum off that win and gain some confidence, that'd be huge for the group.
And down in Memphis, the Grizzlies took down the Orlando Magic 113-108. Desmond Bane led Memphis with 31 points, and the Grizzlies are back in action tonight against the LA Clippers and on Friday. AAA baseball is back here in Nashville on Friday as the Sounds kick off their season against the Louisville Bats with first pitch at 6:35. You can catch the action on 94.9 The Fan. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Bobby and Rexrode. Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase.
Stone Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Crank City score. On both sides of the ball. One big possession. Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mace.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We are live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook Sports. Rand Carthon and Ryan Tannehill were out at the NFL owners' meetings in Phoenix. And Mike Vrabel sat down with the media, discussed, some of the NFL rules committee, some things that they were working through, talked about the Titans and the future of the Titans. And ever since the conclusion of last season, anything that Mike Vrabel had to say or Rand Carthon had to say about Ryan Tannehill will make headlines. It has made headlines. And up to a certain point, it was my ears would perk up every single time Ryan Tannehill's name was mentioned in a discussion with Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon, because I knew that it was going to be something important because Ryan Tannehill's status was kind of up in the air at a certain point. It was, is Tom Brady going to be the quarterback? Is Aaron Rodgers going to be the quarterback? Or are the Titans going to trade up for a quarterback? And I think now we've kind of gotten to a point where we've heard enough from Rand Carthon and from Mike Vrabel, and we know enough about the quarterback market and the way that it's settled. We know enough about the draft and where some teams are leaning to go. And, of course, things change. Everything can change. But we kind of all agree that Ryan Tannehill is most likely going to be your quarterback in 2023. That's kind of what it feels like. So whenever I hear things from Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon, like this was Mike Vrabel at the NFL owners' meetings yesterday.
When you're looking at in the draft in general, what are the qualities that you like to look for?
In who?
Quarterbacks.
I mean, leadership, how these guys rally and what the players around them, how they feed off of them, their toughness, accuracy, do they take care of the football? There's the turnover margin and the rate of success in our league those are too telling of a stat to not look at the way that a player protects the football. Whether that's in the pocket, whether that's scrambling, or that's when they throw it. If they're putting it in harm's way, that's a tough way to win in this league. 75% of the teams that win a turnover margin win the game.
There's another clip in there where Mike Vrabel is asked, is Ryan Tannehill going to be your starter come September? I believe Paul Koharski asked the question. Good question, because whenever Mike Vrabel's pushed against a wall and you give him a little leeway, he'll take that leeway. So Paul Koharski asked him explicitly, do you expect Tannehill to be your starter? And Mike Vrabel says, yeah, of course. Of course.
Of course. Of course we do. We're in March. We're continuing to build a football team, the best football team we can. And Ryan's healthy. He's getting healthy. I would say that he's putting the work in. It's been good to see him around the building. We always expect that. But to make predictions, I think I've been through this last year. I'm not going to commit to anybody being on roster on September. I've seen it change too quickly. And of course we want Ryan as our quarterback, and everybody else that's helped us win. That's what we want.
So that kind of seems like it's what it's going to be. It's what it has been, and it's what it's going to be from Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon. It's a half commitment to Tannehill. Of course we expect Tannehill to be our starter in September. And then but we can't predict that. We can't say for certain. We can't say in March who's going to be on the team in September. I think that Vrabel maybe got a little bit burned from the A.J. Brown situation.
Course.
So he's being very apprehensive about committing to anyone, whether it's Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard, Jeffrey Simmons, Ryan Tannehill, or whether it's Kyle Phillips. No disrespect to Kyle Phillips. But that's what it's getting to me. These are no longer telling me anything. I've learned that this is what it's going to be. Until it's week 1 and Tannehill is under center and he's your starting quarterback, that's when we're going to know for certain. But to me, it's just kind of been the same thing from both of them, Vrabel and Rand Carthon. And I don't blame them, but that's what it's going to be. And to me, it's going to be a headline, but to me, it's no longer a headline in my mind.
I don't think they want to be, one, you're right. I think Vrabel, feel as if, I did this before. And look where it got me. Nowhere. The player that I wanted to be here, he ended up getting traded away. So I'm not going to travel down that road of, guaranteeing a guy's going to be here or putting all of my emotion in it only to be, because sports is ever changing and guys are changing their minds and coaches and GMs and owners are changing their minds daily about certain things. I don't want to get myself locked in on where I see the future at with this particular person right now in March, because it can change in April or May or June. So as we start continuing to build our roster, and as we get closer and closer to that date, then I will start being definitive on the quarterback and everybody else. But right now we're in March. I can't do that, because things may change. There may be a situation that come up that we didn't see coming up. and gives up an opportunity to either draft someone or get someone through free agency, whether it's a quarterback, running back, safety, anybody. So I'm not going to fully commit and go out on a limb again like I did before. I was burned. I'm not doing that again. I've learned my lesson, and I understand it.
I think there's no question. You, as a coach, you don't want to paint yourself into a corner and then have everybody play that sound clip from March, whatever this is, and say, back in March you said, it's not smart. You want to leave yourself a little leeway there. I had the thought I had as he was talking about it. We forget how nasty that injury was for Ryan Tannehill. I wonder, what he's going to look like next season, presuming he's the guy, right? But wherever he is, that's what we're going to be watching, is how mobile is Ryan Tannehill compared to 2 years ago?
I think it's a fair question.
Mm-hmm.
Injury, age, offensive line questions, all of the above, I think all play into that. Let's get your thoughts on it. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Kevin is on the line. What's up, Kevin?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Doing pretty good.
I think teams are afraid of this guy. It's MVP is not Super Bowl. He hasn't really did much. So to fork out that kind of money for a guy who hasn't proven that he can go all the way to at least to the Super Bowl is a risky deal. I think teams are afraid of him.
Lamar Jackson?
Yes, Lamar. He's
Thanks for your call, Kevin.
Actually, the injury that he obtained looked like he busted a bursa sac, which I think he could have played in the playoffs. And when he didn't play to help his team out, that didn't sit well with a lot of players, and a lot of people. You don't go play for your coaches. You go play for the guys next to you.
Yeah, thanks for your call, Kevin. Fair point. And to the Lamar Jackson point, I know we're on Tannehill, but to the Lamar Jackson point, I think that there are several teams in the league that would be salivating over the thought of getting Lamar Jackson. That would be overjoyed to have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson. But it's not just about bringing Lamar Jackson in. It's about the money. It's about the injury history. It's about what you would have to give up in order to get him. It's the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. I think that any franchise in the league would have loved Aaron Rodgers. But it's not just about going out and getting Aaron Rodgers. It's about the money. It's about the picks. It's about what you're investing into this quarterback and what you're going to get out of it.
Well, quickly, to the callers, to what he said, the injury history, we can sort of put that to the side because Lamar didn't get injured doing things that were outside the pocket. Again, he got injured inside the pocket. And, it happens to quarterbacks, whether it's Lamar or it's Ryan Tannehill. We don't consider Ryan Tannehill a runner like Lamar or whatnot, but he still got hurt. He got hurt inside the pocket. It happens. But the notion that he didn't, play in the playoffs and he should have played for his team, well, he knew that the Baltimore Ravens were not giving him a contract. And he said, let's stop negotiations. I'm going to play under whatever that last year, that fifth-year deal was. I'm going to play under that. Week 1, he could have sat out and said, listen, they didn't give me a contract, so I'm not doing anything. Just come to the building, not be the quarterback. But instead, he chose to go out there and continue to play week 1 when he didn't have that when he didn't have that big contract. He said, you know what, I'm going to go out here and play. And hopefully, by my play, they will then reward me because I am doing what they're asking me to do. I'm putting myself on the line for my teammates, for the organization, for the city. He did it. He ended up getting hurt week 12. So don't count that against him, that he ends up getting hurt week 12, because he could have sat out and he would have lost his money, but he could have sat out and proved a point, like, I'm not playing until I get a contract. But I don't want this narrative to be about Lamar that he doesn't enjoy football, that he's not going to play for his teammates. He came in under the fifth-year option when, after winning an MVP, they should have gave him a contract. I'm not saying they should have gave him a guaranteed contract, but they should have worked out a contract to make him one of the highest paid players or quarterbacks in the National Football League. They didn't. And Lamar said, okay, I'm going to play. I'm going to put everything on hold. I'm going to play. And he did until he couldn't play.
And they tried to.
Yeah.
Lamar wanted more.
Exactly.
And so we said, okay, fine, we'll play on the tag. And I don't think that you would label Lamar Jackson injury prone, but it's something that if you're a GM, you have to consider.
Damned if you do and damned if you don't. If he doesn't go out there, you hold it against him. If he goes out there and get hurt, you hold it against him.
Exactly. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. I hear what Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel are saying. It's 1 foot in, 1 foot out with Ryan Tannehill. And I think that's what it's going to be until they absolutely positively have to announce a decision. But I think their minds, and at least our minds, are now in a place where unless something happens, Ryan Tannehill is your starting quarterback in 2023. But who's the backup? We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
We are your home for every big pass.
Kevin Harvick takes over the race lead.
Big wreck.
Trouble turn 2. One car is around and hard into the outside wall.
And big win.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
Yeah! Woo!
Catch every lap of NASCAR on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Spring in and style up with huge savings on top athletic brands at your Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store in Franklin. Stay active this spring with up to 70% off the athletic styles you love. Shop deals on thousands of styles from top athletic apparel and footwear brands, like $10 tees, tanks, and shorts for the family, $20 swimwear, $20 golf polos, and running footwear for $60 or less. Find incredible deals and incredible style at your Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sales store in Franklin at Watson Glen.
Our diamonds are direct from the source, direct from the cutters. There's no middlemen, there's no markup.
Meet Ben Wilkes, 10-year jewelry professional at Genesis Diamonds.
We've got everything from half a carat all the way up to 15 carats and everything in between. So I never have to go looking for something.
And if you're in search of that one-of-a-kind designer ring.
Lots of times they come in and she's got a very specific picture, something that she wants, and she's shocked and amazed when I go right to a case and pull exactly what she's been looking at out.
And beyond the best price and selection, every customer at Genesis gets one-on-one personal attention with no hidden agenda.
Every customer that I've ever worked with has my personal cell phone number. It doesn't come from an automated system. It is person-to-person interaction. We're not on commission, so what that means is regardless of what you buy or don't buy, I'm paid the same.
Genesis Diamonds.
Here you get more, you get bigger, better, you get prettier. The quality, the selection, transparency, customer service, it can't be touched. It's unmatched.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Sometimes the best part of the day is when the day is done. The Rusty Nail in Hermitage has been the best part of the day for many since their doors opened. They provide a great local atmosphere with a big back patio and volleyball courts, plus great drinks like $3 2-lane beer drafts and great food, especially the wings. Call now to reserve your private events or corporate parties, or simply call up a few old pals and tell them to meet you down at the Rusty Nail. See you there. Cheers.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Jonathan Hutton is with us. Hutton, what in the world are the Titans going to do at backup quarterback?
I think it's going to be a rookie.
Ooh.
That's my and it's not the rookie from last year. I think they will make it a competition in some way. But I absolutely would be drafting a quarterback and pairing them behind Tannehill, at least as you start the season. I'm all on board with the idea that Tannehill's the starter this year, and then you don't owe him or Henry anything after this season, and you have a chance to develop your QB with, let's be honest, with the offensive coordinator that Vrabel tried to hire a couple of years ago when Arthur Smith left, but the Texans blocked them, and now he's got the guy, albeit with Kelly. So I like their options for the backup QB position. And if they're drafting a quarterback in where they are at 11, that guy's going to be the starter by the end of the season, if not as we get going here based on how they move Tannehill.
That was Jonathan Hutton of Hot Mike with Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow. It's going to take me some time to get used to that. Used to the new show name. On the Titans backup quarterback situation. And I will tell you, when Josh Dobbs signed with the Cleveland Browns, I thought, you gotta be kidding me. What do you mean he signed with the Cleveland Browns? I thought it was a given that the Titans would bring back Josh Dobbs, at least as an option as backup quarterback. He's a smart guy, good guy to have in the locker room, good guy to have on the sidelines. He did a fine job for you whenever Tannehill went down at the end of the season. I thought, yeah, you're going to bring Josh Dobbs back. And when they didn't, I thought, oh, no. Oh, what's the plan now? Hutton says it's going to be a rookie. My question to that is, which rookie is it going to be? Is it going to be a guy you take at 11, or are you going to trade up to draft your quarterback of the future? You taking Stetson Bennett in the second round?
Stetson Bennett.
But one thing is for certain, and it's TD was on with Chase and Michelle yesterday, and he gave his thoughts on what he thought the backup quarterback situation either would be or should be. And I just think that's the one avenue that I don't want the Titans to go down. This was TD.
Wasn't ready for that opportunity. How do you view the backup quarterback position as the draft's around the corner and training camp will be here before we know it?
Well, the belief is that Willis will continue to develop. Now, whether or not that's the best decision is up to the person that, you ask, but that is the belief. And talking to Mike Vrabel, talking to Tim Kelly, and talking to Rand Clark, and they've all said that, now, obviously, you can take it for what it is, right? It's coming to the building and doing the things that you could do now. It only has so much value. But they've all said that, they like what they've seen from him so far. They feel that there's promise. So, to me, that means that he's going to be the backup. But also what tells even more is the fact that Josh Dobbs went to the Browns for like a $2 million deal. It wasn't impactful at all. A backup quarterback on a $2 million salary that could come in and start for you in a pinch like you did, I think there's value there. So if you believe that you don't have a backup in Malik Willis, you don't let the Josh Dobbs situation happen where he goes to Cleveland. So that tells me they feel that Willis will be all right.
Surely that's not the Titans' plan.
Willis as their backup?
Yes.
Hey, you never know. I mean, unless I'm not going to completely rule it out.
I'm not ruling it out.
Because, he was a rookie last year, and I think a lot of people, the problem is that in situations typically like that, when you are a third round, fourth round, fifth round, sixth round guy, even if the starter gets hurt, you're not coming in the game. Because why? They are trying to develop you as a player. Not too many times, even in Purdy's situation, it took for two quarterbacks to go down. And from what we've heard, they even called Ben Roethlisberger to see if he would come out of retirement before they chose to go with Brock Purdy. Why? Because in their mind, he wasn't ready to play, and they didn't want to damage him as a player. He comes in, and he plays great, but that doesn't happen every time. The only reason we are so scared because we saw Willis too early, and we saw him at his worst. We didn't see him after 2 years of sitting behind the starter, developing, and then coming in. I'm sure we would have seen a much different quarterback. But because we seen the rookie guy that was a project, and we saw him play and it looked bad, all of a sudden it's like throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's throw it all out. Well, the Titans are probably thinking, let's pump the brakes on this, okay? Let's give this guy, let's see if he develops more. We got a new quarterbacks coach, not a new system, but a new offensive coordinator. Let's see what happens in the offseason going into the preseason. Has he made that jump that we believe he should make going into his second year? You wasn't supposed to see him at all this year. We wasn't supposed to see how bad he was this year.
That was a mistake.
Exactly. But for whatever reason, they chose to make him the backup. And we saw how bad he was at his lowest. So we can't just all of a sudden. I could see if he had been in the league 3 or 4 years and he came out and did that, it was like, we got to get rid of this guy. But people, it was his first year. And he was already a project. And I'm sure when you're a GM, you can't think what the fans think. You can't think how we think on the radio or what other show hosts may say. This guy's crappy. He sucks. He can't. No, he wasn't supposed to play. We know that he's a project, but we saw him at his worst. And the Titans are hoping that next year, this offseason, gives him an opportunity to get better.
The way the league has chosen to develop quarterbacks is the dumbest thing they've got going. It's a pretty smart league. They make a lot of money. It's a good business. But we've said it over and over again. The way that they set it up for quarterbacks to fail is so obvious. And teams, I guess, do have the choice. They could keep 3 quarterbacks if they wanted to. But it'd be a simple rule change. Go back to the 3rd quarterback as a designation so everybody could keep 3. But you're right. They threw Malik Willis to the Wolves last year, and the reason was they didn't want to keep 3 quarterbacks. They could have kept the security blanket, had a different backup, but there's salary cap restrictions and things like that. But Malik Willis was very hurt in his development because he had to play before he was ready. And that was a mistake that the Titans made. So I agree. I'm not willing to throw him out, but they're faced with the same choice. If you're only keeping 2 quarterbacks, you're either going to cut Malik Willis or you're going to draft another guy or you're going to sign another veteran. It's not a good choice. You need to keep 3.
I think you need 3. And D-Mase, to your point, I am not throwing out the idea that Malik Willis could have made leaps and bounds in his development in the offseason. I'm not throwing out the idea that the quarterback he is now might be different or better than the quarterback he was when we saw him against the Kansas City Chiefs. But also, and I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I don't see his development. I don't know. They know. The Titans know. But if you're going to set yourself up in a situation where, again, you hope that Malik Willis will be ready or you hope that Malik Willis is developed, what happens when, knock on wood, Ryan Tannehill does something to his ankle? Ryan Tannehill breaks his leg. Knock on all the wood. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. But what if that happens? And then now Malik Willis is your starting quarterback. Can you just hope that Malik Willis is ready for that?
And no. I'm not saying that, that you're wrong from that aspect, because I think I would rather have a veteran guy as a backup right now. Yeah, rather than Malik Willis. Even if he has developed a little bit more, even if things are starting to look good with him, I still would rather have a veteran backup, because I don't want to have to relive in any way, or I don't want him to have to relive in any way, because the minute, even if he has progressed, Willie and Caroline, the minute he messes up, everybody's going to be, see, I told you he wasn't ready. No, I would rather have a veteran backup, somebody that has been in the league a while, somebody that has started a few games here and there, that understands how this thing operates. I think even after this offseason, I don't think he still will be fully ready to take on what needs to be had to be a quarterback in this league. I think it's going to, because he was so far behind, I believe, development-wise as a quarterback in this league, I think it's going to take him all of this offseason, all of next season, and then that next following season, I think he'll be ready to be a legitimate backup quarterback in this league, if not a starter somewhere. Not necessarily here, but maybe somewhere. I'm not gonna I've seen weirder things and stranger things. Guy come in 1 year, he's awful. Then the next year, it's like, man, this dude, whatever he's doing, it's working.
I'm not really ready to abandon Malik Willis after just 1 year. But I would like a little bit more insurance because the absolute worst possible case scenario of your quarterback getting hurt, the Titans realized that last season, and they didn't have that insurance there. I think it's best for his development if there's some insurance there.
Exactly.
It's best for the Titans if there's a little bit of a veteran insurance there. And I feel like there's this idea that you can't carry 3 quarterbacks. Why? I mean, maybe not the majority of NFL teams do it, but why not? Why? If that's what's
I would have
best
done it
for your
last
team,
year.
Yes,
it would have been better to do it last year. No question. You know what? It's really interesting to think about when they drafted Malik Willis. It was obvious that he was going to need extra time to develop, but they just I don't know. I just did not like how he ended up having to play the way that he did. And look, they're in the same predicament because there's a higher probability than there's ever been that Ryan Tannehill is going to get injured again with his age and now the piling up of injuries. It may not happen. I hope he plays 17 games, but there is a higher probability that he's going to miss some games. So you're going to be right back in this boat.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want the Titans to make the same mistake 2 years in a row. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Coming up next, I'm going to give something away. And this is a good one. This is one that I wish that I could qualify to win because these are a pretty good giveaway. We will get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5-106.3 The Game. And hey, Nashville's best deal of the week is from Hot Works in Goodlettsville. Open 24/7 in their infrared virtually LED sauna classes. Choose from Hot Cycle, Hot Blast, Hot Thunder, Hot Yoga, Hot Bar None, and so much more. And right now you can join for just $39 in time for their grand opening on April 1st. That is $60 off at thegamenashville.com/deals. Get more workout in less time at Hotworks.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robbie and Rexrode every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yost.
Matt Bouchane. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Men, this is Evan Bass with the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and I've been helping men with sexual health issues for many years. I've seen the pain and anxiety that men walk into the clinic with when erectile dysfunction is affecting them. And I also know the heartache and difficulty it can bring to their partner. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've been successfully treating men for ED for many years now. We've seen the amazing impacts that those treatments have on a man's confidence and positivity. And we've seen the wonderful things those treatments also do for a man's relationship. That's why I'm pleased to announce that we are now offering the same great services we offer at our Nashville clinic at our new location in Franklin, which will make it much more convenient for those men living south of Nashville to get treated. So call us today and book your appointment at our Midtown location or at our new clinic in Cool Springs. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatment sex start results vary.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. Being arrested doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. Being served with custody paperwork doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. It may feel that way, but if you have Amanda J. Gentry representing you, you can feel confident that you're going to have the best quality representation in all of Middle Tennessee. Amanda J. Gentry goes wherever justice demands. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
This week's Nashville's best deal is the all-new Hot Works Goodlettsville off Long Hollow Pike. Right now, join for just $39 in time for their grand opening April 1st. That's $60 off at thegamenashville.com/deals. Hot Works offers 24/7 infrared fitness in 15 and 30-minute virtually led sauna sessions. Get more workout in less time at Hot Works. And right now, save $60 on enrollment at thegamenashville.com/deals.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Rizza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
When you want live and local,
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
they've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The Preds have a home game tomorrow night, and it is your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click, brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. If you correctly guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game tomorrow night, then you will win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Participate in Pick to Click tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m. with Robbie and Rexrode. I promised a giveaway, and a giveaway we will do.
Give it to me.
The first person with the correct answer to Willy's trivia question, and you will get the opportunity to see Queen and Adam Lambert at Bridgestone Arena on October 25th. Willy, take it away.
All right. Here in Pittsburgh, flavored trivia. How about this? There are a couple of schools that are Division I, but maybe not at the tip of your tongue when you think Division I schools. It's kind of like if I were doing a Pittsburgh show and I asked about the nicknames for Middle Tennessee and Belmont. So I'm going to go the opposite. Here in Nashville, can you name the nicknames of Duquesne and Robert Morris? Pittsburgh area Division I schools. What are the nicknames? Robert Morris and Duquesne. 615-737-1025. Got to be quick. And don't text. If you text, you might be right. You're not going to win the tickets.
The Stains from Duquesne.
Is that right?
I don't know. I don't know.
Derek, you'll appreciate this.
Pretty
You remember the Lakers, right?
Uh-huh.
Of course, a lot of people might have watched the Showtime. It's kind of fiction. They took too many liberties, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of fun to watch it anyway. What was it called? The HBO program?
Was it Showtime? No, it wasn't Showtime. It was God, I forgot the name of it. But
I think they're doing
exactly
another season of it, which I'm not sure I'm prepared for. But Norm Nixon, the great point guard, who of course ends up being right at the center of the show because they drafted Magic Johnson, right? Who's a point guard. So they had to figure out a way to get Norm Nixon and Magic Johnson to work together. But Norm Nixon played for Duquesne back in the day. So Duquesne's got a pretty good team. They're in the A. Morris is their Pittsburgh trivia. 615-737-1025.
That was a good one, Willy, and a really good giveaway. Again, the first person with the correct answer to Willy's trivia question will get a pair of tickets to see Queen and Adam Lambert at Bridgestone Arena on October 25th. I had no idea that Queen was still touring, but I love to hear it, and I would love to see Queen. But I want to get to this point because the NFL owners' meetings were in Phoenix this week, and they were discussing a whole lot of stuff. And a lot of stuff is just kind of like snooze fest, clock management or certain, little minute details about penalties, things that do matter in the grand scheme of the game, but things that I don't think that any of us or you listening are really too interested in getting and into the nitty-gritty of. But there is one interesting proposal that was talked about at the NFL owners meetings, and it had to do with Thursday night football, because there is now a rule that would allow games to be flexed into Thursday night kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not every team would be required to play a Thursday night game, and every team would be allowed to play a maximum of 2 short week games, meaning you play on Sunday and then you play on Thursday. But it also clarifies that playing 2 weeks in a row on Thursday would not be considered a short week game. So even though there's a maximum of 2 short week games, you could play 4 or 5 Thursday night games because you would play Thursday and then the next Thursday and then the next Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
But this would allow games on Thursday night to be flexed, meaning if there is, 2 total stinkers of teams scheduled to be on Thursday, and there's a really good game that's scheduled to be on Sunday afternoon, you could flex that good game into Thursday night football and move that clunker of a game, that stinker of a game, into a less premier national time slot. Now, there's a whole lot of pushback on that. And I understand both sides of it. But there's one, John Mara said, at some point, can we please give consideration to people who are coming to our games? Which is fair. When the NFL schedules come out, I like to see, what's a big game here? What's a good game there? I know I'm not alone in that. A lot of people look at the schedules and say, my team is playing the Titans on November 15th. Let's make a trip to Nashville. Get the hotels, get the tickets. We'll make all of these plans, travel accommodations, and we'll go to Nashville for the game. And then, no surprise. The week before, it's flexed into Thursday night. Now we can't go. So that's one side of it.
This flexing these Thursday night games 5, 7, maybe even 10 years ago was great. Because why? Because it was new and people wanted to play on Thursday night, and it was like, everybody's watching me. Thursday night games now are not that glamour spot to players or to fans anymore, because even if you flex out of what they deem 2 poorly teams, you're still not going to get a good game on Thursday. It's been proven, regardless of who you put in that time slot, which team you put in that time slot. You're not going to get the game you would have gotten on a Sunday after a full week's rest. So this whole notion of, let's start flexing teams out. No. Because just because you flex a good team in there, what if that good team is dealing with injuries? Now, because they got to do it in enough time where these teams, where people can make changes and everything else. Now, what if this team, their starting quarterback, and you done flexed it, their starting quarterback's out now? What are you going to do next? Flex it back? Yeah. No, if you put a team on a Thursday night, because Thursday night is not a glamour night anymore because players don't like playing on Thursdays anymore.
And everyone gets one.
Exactly.
It's less special.
Absolutely. So if it's not like Thursday Thanksgiving games, everybody loves that because only a few teams play on that day. But if you're talking flexing, I just don't think it's a way to go, because I don't think the ball it's not going to be that good anyway. Again, because guys are coming off Sundays and then have to turn right back around and play on Thursday. So whoever it is, and I guarantee you, those players do not like it. Like, all of a sudden, I was looking forward, now I got to play on a Thursday? What if we played a hard-fought game, Baltimore and Pittsburgh, or the Titans in Pittsburgh, or the Titans in Baltimore? They played on a Sunday, and you know how physical those games are. And you're telling me if I'm the Titans, I got to turn right back around because I'm doing well and you flexing me into a Thursday game? No, I don't want that. No player wants that. Coaches don't want that.
And that's the other side of it as well, is it doesn't just not accommodate for fans. It doesn't also make it more difficult for fans to plan to come to games and always have that underlying, nerve of, I want to go to this game, but I don't know when it's going to be in reality. So it doesn't help the fans, and I don't think it helps the players either. I mean, from your perspective, Derek, playing on Sunday and then Thursday.
That's tough.
That's hard on your body. That's really difficult. And to not be mentally prepared for that going into a season or going into a game on Sunday and saying, okay, we got this game, then we also got a game on Thursday. We got a quick turnaround this week. Practice is built differently. The schedule of the week is different. That's hard on your body. That's hard mentally. That's hard on everyone involved that has to schedule the weeks and has to schedule the season so far in advance. And for that to easily be flexed, I don't think it's fair to the fans. I don't think it's fair to the players. I don't think it's fair to coaches. And the NFL claims that those are the three groups and the three parties that they prioritize, when in reality, I'll be honest with y'all, this sounds to me like Amazon said, hey, Roger, we're paying you billions of dollars to have your games on our streaming site, and we got stuck with that Denver Broncos, Indianapolis Colts absolute dog poop of a game on our airwaves, on our streaming service. We don't want that anymore. We're paying you billions of dollars. We want the ability to flex onto our stream. Don't act like it's about the fans.
You got to stand up for your people, though. You got to stand up for your players. You got to stand up for your fans. You got to tell Amazon to go stick it.
He's not. When Amazon said that, you know what he heard? Must be the money. He heard that Deion Sanders song playing in his head. He was like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do whatever you want to do if indeed that was the case. So.
It stinks, though.
Yeah.
Look, Major League Baseball fans get upset when Major League Baseball flexes a Sunday afternoon game to the Sunday night baseball. And that's just a few hours. But if you, like you said, Caroline, if you plan a weekend trip to play at midnight and then Sunday afternoon and flying back on Sunday night, and they move that game to Sunday night, you're screwed. So it's even worse when they move a game to Thursday. I mean, it's just not looking at – fans do that all the time. We see what happens in Nashville. You get waves of the other team's fans coming in, making a weekend out of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it kind of feeds into the narrative that I think fans have, maybe players might have, coaches might have. That I understand the NFL is a business.
It's about the money.
It's about money. It's a money-making organization. And it is not NFL.gov. You know, like they make money off of these games. But once you start to prioritize money over your players, over your coaches, over your fans on several different occasions, that's when you start to have a little bit more distrust in the organization. Yeah, that's when the integrity of the shield is compromised.
Come up with a plan to compensate your fans then. If you move the game, there needs to be a program where the fans can get their money back or make accommodations. Make it right with the fans if you're going to do that.
One texter texts in and says, you're a bunch of crying babies. These guys are getting paid more money. He uses another word other than babies, but FCC exists. These guys are getting paid more money than most people will see in their lives to play one day a week. They'll get over it. It's an awfully shut up and dribble approach to
I hate people like that, and I'm going to say that. I'm not going to say hate because that's a strong word. I dislike people like that. I really do. They irritate me. So I'm just going to say that. That person, I'm glad they did text in, and I want them to text in more, but comments like that does irritate me. It really does.
Keep your mouth shut.
It irritates me because it's essentially what you said, Caroline. Shut up, dribble. Shut up, throw the ball. Shut up, run the ball. Shut up, hit the hockey puck. Shut up. Don't let no goals go in the net. That's essentially what it's saying. And that is far from, you don't know athletes if that's the approach you're going to take. You don't know what they put their bodies through. Yes, they get paid handsomely. Believe me, they do. They earned it. They go out there. Only a few can do this, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, hockey. Only a few can do it. It's a hard sport mentally, physically, emotionally. These guys need their day off, okay? So don't hit us with these guys. That's old and tired. That was played out 15, 20 years ago. We don't operate in that space no more. Because everybody earns, for the most part, what they're making, and these guys work extremely hard. Coaches, players, people that work in that building work extremely hard. So don't just say, "Oh, shut up! They make enough money; they shouldn't be whining." No, that's not the case.
And let's not forget, it's not just about the players.
Exactly.
It's about the concession stand workers in the stadium. It's about the security guards that man the parking lots at the stadium. It's about the production people at the networks that are in charge of all of this stuff. It's not just about the players. Let's not forget that there are hundreds of thousands of people that go into making sure that a Sunday game day or a Thursday game day, whatever it might be, goes off without a hitch. So let's calm down on that a little bit. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. The Predators did last night what I thought was pretty darn close to impossible, and they did it for the city of Nashville. We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Gary Ashton here. People walk up to me all the time and say, don't sell without the intel. This message couldn't be more true. Right now, it's a fantastic time to buy or sell your home in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. No one has more intel than the Gary Ashton team. So what is this intel we keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without stagings or showings? Intel on where to find your next home so that you can sell your current home while the market is hot? And intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity. For more intel, visit GaryAshton.com, where we can give you the insight and the most up-to-date real estate intel in Nashville. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate team of the Nashville Predators. Get the confidence to sell your home and find the dream address without the stress. Visit us today at GaryAshton.com. That's GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The tournament is heating up, and there's no better place to get in on all the action than America's #1 sportsbook. That's because right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Just go to FanDuel.com/JGM and sign up to claim your no-sweat first bet. Then you can wager on everything from the money line to point spreads to which team will be cutting down the nets. I think it'll be Connecticut who will be cutting down the nets in the end. All in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So don't miss your shot at a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/JGM to sign up. Make every moment more with FanDuel. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager. Only $10 first deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days and restrictions do apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
Will they find a home? Sponsored by Geico. Susan has always wanted to live in a chateau. I like a certain je ne sais quoi. While Jake is more into the Cape Cod style home.
It's a classic look.
Compromise is tough, but these two won't have to compromise when they bundle home and car insurance with Geico. It's easy, and they could save even more. In the end, Susan and Jake found a Cape Cod style home where they will only speak French.
Bonjour, je t'aime, merci beaucoup, and cordon bleu.
You'll get better with time. Bundling without compromise at Geico.com.
Sometimes he gets lonely and needs some company.
10 for 17 for 45 yards in his career with 1 interception.
This is one of those years where it's a step back for them.
And that'll create more one-on-one situations and make it easier for him to throw the ball down the field.
It's Stillman and Company.
You've got real talent.
With Jared Stillman. Weekdays from 2 to 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Tomasino works the right side for Nashville. Back to Fabro, who quickly shovels over to the left. And a shot at the score! Cody Glass! The Predators take a 1-0 lead here with 1:49 to go in period number 2. Charlie McAvoy fired down ice. And that one is going to go into the empty net. 79 seconds left. The Predators extend their lead to 2-0 with an empty net goal. And the Nashville Predators knock off the bound for history Boston Bruins here tonight. 2-1 the final score.
This is what the Predators were facing last night. They were without Philip Forsberg, Roman Josi, Ryan Johansson, of course, as we know. They're without Matt Duchene. It's with a bunch of young guys, a bunch of newbies into the league. On the road, at Boston, at TD Garden, against the best team in the NHL, the Boston Bruins, who were playing David Pastrnak, Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, Jake DeBrusk. They're 4 leading scorers. That's what the Predators were facing. Added on to the adversity and the pain that they were carrying with themselves, and I know they were carrying with them from Nashville to Boston. They go into TD Garden, and they get a win against the big bad Boston Bruins, a 2-1 win. Now, I never want to overstate a win or overstate a loss and talk about, especially in hockey. You know, every game matters, but it's you know, a loss isn't going to ruin your season, and a win isn't going to propel you to the President's Trophy. But that game last night had a little bit of poetic justice to it. I was so impressed with what I saw from some of those young guys. The young guys that went out there and played like they have been playing in the league for years. They've been playing with so much poise, especially when they're playing against hockey players that have been in the league for this long, and they probably grew up with posters of them on their walls when they were kids, and they went in with that kind of poise and that kind of toughness and that kind of fire. When you see Saros was just playing out of his freaking mind, even when he was peppered with pucks all night long. I was so impressed from what I saw from the Predators last night, and I was so proud of that team in Boston last night.
It's really what it gives you that great feeling as a sports fan. Right, that's kind of how we open the show. How sports can, what sports can do, really, to have that common experience. I love how the team channeled it. If you haven't watched the gesture by Roman Josi and the team after the game, after they won, where they dedicated the win to the city, I thought that you really should watch that. That would it'll warm your heart a little bit and make you feel a little bit better. And as for the team, their first line last night is Igor Afanasyev, Cody Glass, and Phil Tomasino. Three young guys, and they're going up against one of the best teams. By the end of the year, they could have the most points of any team in one season. They could be that good, the Bruins. And that's the line that generates the goal. And who was on the ice, who got the assist? Ryan McDonough. Another guy that, just poured his heart out yesterday. He had a great gesture with the young man. He joined us on the show a little bit earlier on Chase and Michelle. Just saw Ryan McDonough in the airport. Ryan McDonough stayed back to be with his family for an extra night after what happened in our city. Comes up. He makes this kid's day. This kid will never forget that. He got to announce the starting lineup to the team in the locker room just out of nowhere. And Ryan McDonough assists on that goal that you heard Pete call that gave Nashville the advantage. So what a night. Just what a great special night.
It's a very special night indeed. That's going to do it for us today. Chase McCabe and Adam Vingan are up next with Stillman & Company. We will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Be love and love on somebody.